Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game. And get paired with players from around the world, fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
That I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
Hi, and welcome everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Over 200 mini videos that our Chessable team edited together, synced with our move trainer, and made it a seamless learning experience.
Today, more than ever, when the world comes together to create a better tomorrow.
It's going to be magic.
La magie. Magic. Magic with music.
With architecture.
With colors.
Magic with celebration.
With your safety.
From here.
There.
And everywhere.
For 6 whole months, day and night.
Join the making of a new world, starting October 1st.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the round 3 of the World Championship match, which is running in Dubai. I'm connecting from here locally. I'm Judith Polgar, and the Dubai Expo 2020 is running. 192 countries exhibiting and showing their best. But one of the main highlights of here is the World Championship match between Magnus Carlsen and Nepomniachtchi. We are reaching to game number 3, and I'm so honored and so happy to have Anish Giri with us, the Super GM world number 6, and he's from Holland connecting to us. Hi, Anish.
Hello, hi, good to see you. Excited for the third game. What are our predictions? What are we hoping for? What do we expect?
Well, this is the big question, right? Is Nepo going to be playing e4? I think we can expect that, right?
Yeah, I believe after two tough games, especially yesterday, the team of Jan will try to take things easy a little bit. There's just one more game left before the rest day. You don't want to burn any bridges, and I think jumping into the unknown would be a little bit risky. So probably he will stick to the same thing, stick to the Spanish, and maybe come up with another little attempt to get a small advantage against the martial variation of the Spanish. So I expect something along the lines of 1e4, and then something similar to the first game, but a little bit of a different twist.
Well, this is the big question for me also, whether is Magnus going to play exactly the same or probably a little switch, little different. And before we move on and we start to figure out what kind of opening it's going to be, I want to invite everybody to make their predictions, to go to the website of magnusnepo.com, where you can give your prediction, which opening is it going to be, of course, who is going to be winning today, or is it going to be a draw, and in how many moves. So you can win valuable prizes, all kind of different things. So don't forget to make your predictions before the game starts. And yeah, I think it would be a great surprise for all of us if it would be not e4. But what do you think? Let's say Magnus, will he play c5 in this match? This is
So
silly.
very possibly if he's down at some point, down in the match, and there are 2 little games to go, in that kind of situation, you start treating your black games as opportunities to perhaps come back. Even though it's always a big question, let's say you have 4 or even 2 games left, do you go all out with black, or you try to just make a draw with black and strike with the white pieces? So I expect if Magnus will ever be down, he might consider going back to the Sicilian, but I guess as long as the status quo is maintained, I think this Marshall that he has prepared, the Spanish with a6, it's such a fundamental opening, such a big battleground. Usually, just to prepare that alone, it takes so much work and energy. I don't think he has too many weapons with black. I think he's focused on this system, and I think as long as the status quo stays there, he will just keep going for it, and it will be up to Jan really to deviate.
It's sometimes I think about it that in the previous match, it was Fabiano Caruana who was the challenger to Magnus Carlsen, and they had just few rating points between themselves. And it was very clear that Magnus respected Fabiano very much, and he knew that that match could be something where he's losing his title. In this match, I believe he's not sensing it so much. He even said it that maybe Jan Nepomniachtchi not necessarily the toughest opponent for him. And their rating is there are very huge difference, right? Magnus Carlsen has 28.55, while Jan Nepomniachtchi has 27.82. So there's quite significant difference between the players. What do you think, how much it can bring out in results in a match? Can it be demolished completely, or how does this work, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. If we look back, when Magnus played against Karekin was lower ranked than Jan. Jan, although the rating difference is quite high, Jan is ranked number 4 or 5 in the world, I believe, which isn't too low. One of the best players for sure. And you have to also take into account perhaps that Jan sort of started his rating rise in the last couple of years. So he has made a lot of progress recently. There is potential. Let's say nobody will be surprised if Jan wins this, or not even wins, but even if he doesn't win this match, that Jan, let's say in a couple of years, goes even higher, crosses 2800, nobody will be all too shocked. At the same time, if we look back and we see the match with Karekin, Magnus was on the verge of losing his crown against someone even lower rated, although again, Karekin is one of the best players in the world. So I think Magnus takes him seriously. To say that Ding or Caruana are a little bit stronger, it's on one hand true, on the other hand doesn't really mean too much. I think the difference isn't big enough that it cannot be neutralized by good preparation, a bit of luck, and even in the World Cup, Magnus struggled with players. Although these matches were shorter, he still struggled with players like Yesipenko or Jan Krzysztof Duda, to whom he eventually lost, who are also ranked a little below him. I don't think that plays too crucial a role. I think still a lot will come down to playing well on this particular day and also having good preparation.
Well, with the match against Caruana, it was very clear that Magnus, it crossed his mind that he can lose his crown. Do you think it crosses his mind seriously that he cannot win this match?
Yeah, I think that thought is always there. I don't think Magnus can afford. Sorry.
For example, in their match in 2016 against Karyakin, he was not thinking that it's an option that he's losing that match.
Yeah, maybe hard for me to imagine. I think if you go play a game against a strong player like Jan, play a match. I also don't think it's too relevant. I think you think about the process, you think about the preparation, you think about the best move in a given position, and these sort of abstract thoughts of what am I going to do after I lose or after I win. I think these are not too important. Although I did, it's sort of a private information, but I did hear Magnus say what he intends to do in case he loses this match. So that thought definitely crossed his mind. I can tell you that. Although maybe I'm saying things I shouldn't be saying.
First 2 games already done. Very interesting match so far. Of course, there are a lot of things happening behind the scenes as well. So I want to invite you to see a short video, what's going on behind the stage, because it's always important for the players how they can go back from the board. As we saw yesterday, actually, that quite a few times the players were not at the board. So where can they hide?
We're at the Dubai Expo, which is a celebration of the brilliance of human mind. And fittingly, the World Championship match is taking place at the Exhibition Center. I'm outside the playing venue, and I want to take you on a little tour and show you where the action happens. Magnus and Jan Nepomniachtchi enter from this door. Come on in. Up these steps is where we've got the Players' Lounge. We see Jan Nepomniachtchi here for Team Magnus. It's this one where Magnus can rest, get his refreshments, and head over to where the magic happens. This right here is where the World Championship match will be played, and we see the board and pieces are all set up for game one. As Jan Nepomniachtchi starts with the white pieces, he will be seated on this side of the board. Magnus Carlsen starting with the black pieces. This is their fish tank. It's quite a big room, but it's going to feel so alone here as these two fight it out, because there is glass all around, but it's a one-way glass. The players really can't hear anything, they can't see anything. On the other side is where we've got the audience. It's completely soundproof, the players have no idea what's going on outside, but I'm gonna show you guys what it's like on the other side. And this is the spectacular auditorium of the Exhibition Center, where the audience will be seated with a direct, clear view of the match and the players. Take a look at this. We've got two massive screens up on the wall where they can follow the position, the live board. That is the one-way glass with a clear view for everyone who's visiting the World Championship to see the players in action. While they can see the players have no idea what's going on outside. It's soundproof. The World Championship match is happening right here.
Yes, this is the playing area of the players. It was done, this video, before the last touches were done over there. So probably Nepo also is hiding there in his room. What do you think? Because he was actually making his move and he sneaks out from stage very frequently.
Yeah, no, why not? Why not? You still have the position in your head, but also there is a screen with the position. You can think about it anywhere you want, and maybe without your opponent looking at you, you can afford to relax a bit, loosen up your body language. You don't have to keep that poker face or work on your body language. You can just chill and wait for his move to come. I think many players do that, and we see Jan move to his resting area quite a bit. I didn't really get to see much about the area. It seemed to me like when Tanya showed it, there was only the TV. I didn't see I expect there should be something to sit on, something to lie around.
Yes, because when Tanya was going around, they were still making their final touches of the location. So they have a couch there by now. They have snacks and drinks and food, whatever they require. So it's somewhere they can really be seating or just going up and down. I think it's very common with chess players that when you go backstage, you just go up and down walking. It's always very typical. And this is what is happening here. What I wanted to discuss also the time control, because yesterday in the press conference, it was also a topic about how the players, how much are they happy with the new time control, because in the previous World Championship match, it was 100 minutes for 40 moves. After that, it was 50 minutes for 20 moves and 15 minutes for rest of the game. But from move one, they received the bonus time of 30 seconds. While now it changed quite a bit, because they start out with 2 hours, but they have no bonus, only starting from move 61. So what do you think? Is it going to be a change in this match? Because I have a feeling that both players are pretty fast players, so it's not really going to be something, an issue for them in time trouble.
Yeah, likely not. But of course, it could always happen. And if it does happen, it will have a very big impact. So far in the first 2 games, they have managed to, they spent quite a bit of time in the opening, in the middle game, but when time trouble started approaching, they managed to liquidate things and control the time very well. But maybe we'll get a position that is so complex, and the tension will stay for so long that they will not really manage to control the time, and then it could get very exciting. I mean, I remember when I was playing in the Tata Steel tournament back when we had no increment from move 1. I was never part of it myself, but I've watched a lot of crazy time scrambles. There was a lot of drama. There were people losing on time, hitting the clock, dropping pieces. So that can happen. Of course, these two players, they thought about the match a lot beforehand. They prepared, and they were ready for the time control mentally as well. So I really doubt that they will let it happen, these extreme time trouble situations. But it could happen. It could spin out of control if the game with the position on the board gets too complex, and there will not be a way to somehow alleviate the tension.
Can we say that if one of the players reaching serious time trouble, let's say one of the player will have 2 minutes making 8 moves, then it means something special that he's in big trouble in that game?
Yeah, I guess as you yourself very well know, besides the time situation, it also depends on the position on the board, right? If it's a clear-cut end game, it's enough to have 30 seconds for 10 moves. You can play everything instantly. But if it's a complicated position, sometimes 1 minute is way too little for 3 moves. So it depends a lot, I guess, on the position as well. And you would expect players like Magnus and Nepo for sure to be very aware of the clock. And if they see that things are about to spin out of control, they will accelerate much earlier, much before. But again, sometimes, it happens in a way that you feel that there must be a good move and you just don't see it, and you feel it's worth spending that extra time, and you spend it, and then you realize it's just not there, and it's too late, and you already spent the time. So it can happen, but again, I don't know if we get to see the extremes. We get what is more likely is that players start accelerating earlier, and that can cause more mistakes than a more laid back control with increment from move 1.
Well, we are just about to start in a few minutes. We see Maurice Ashley, who is each day is starting the game, before the game, introducing the VIP guests. I must say that yesterday I was very much impressed by Nepo's reaction after the opening, because yesterday what has happened is that it was clear that Magnus made his homework better, right? He surprised Jan very clearly. It was not possible to hide it from Jan that it was a surprise in a very early stage of the Catalan. And he was having a difficult position, it seemed. He had to make some strange moves. And after that, somehow he was spending quite a lot of time. He got in behind in time very clearly. And after that, somehow he turned around and he made things so good that Magnus even blundered, and it was pretty shaky for Magnus, we can say. I think it was really showing his strongest part, what Jan is in his game, because his not strongest part is not the opening, but somehow he was able to shift things around and make an incredible good middle game.
Yeah, for sure. Just one thing I'd mention is that in case, especially with these two players, I think they both rely very heavily on their team, as always, but in particular these two. For example, Kasparov was well known to be the one who generated ideas. He was the main member of his analytical team, whereas with Magnus and Jan, I get a feeling that they're there as players while the team is delegated and getting all the work done. So when we compared the preparation, I would sort of not really compare the players themselves, but more the teams. I really think that it's the team of Nepo versus the team of Magnus. And as you mentioned, so far, I think after the first 2 games, it looks that the team Magnus has done a better job so far. But obviously, we only get to see the tip of the iceberg, and we can be sure that both players and both the teams have done tremendous work. But the cards, they were shuffled in such a way that so far in the first 2 games, we got to see Magnus's prep, while Jan hasn't managed to show what his team has been up to. Maybe today it will be different.
Well, I think it's so true what you're saying. We are seeing now that both players are at the board. I think it's so true that when all our audience, when you see this match playing at the board, these two gentlemen over there across the board, it's not only about them. They are in some way executing what the team was building up, right? And all the information they collect, all the information they receive in that specific opening which they are playing. So it is really how the people have to visualize it. It's like two players at the board, but there are like the family, the supporters, the girlfriend, the father in Magnus's play, and then you have the army kind of thing, right? There are so many people around them, and really it's for example, Magnus, he has many friends coming over, and the family support he has. Also, of course, Peter Heine Nielsen, the chief coach, and a lot of other people who are behind the scenes and not revealed. Some people may know it, but the same thing goes for Nepomniachtchi, that he has his girlfriend with him, Potkin, the main coach, and some of the other coaches. I think Karyakin is pretty clearly helping him. So all these things, it is very important for the players. So when we see them playing the opening, it's actually not only these fantastic two players playing the opening, but a huge team working for them to give them the right advices. So it means that they have to have a great feeling towards the trust in their team, so which is
we're getting the moves right now. So Jan used the same trick as Magnus did. He learned by now that you can make a fake move first and then correct it. So he did a fake d4, but now he played e4, and we're getting the Spanish, or at least let's see, at least e4, e5. Jan is still thinking, maybe the Italian, maybe the Scotch.
Psychological waiting seconds, right?
Strange. Maybe he wants to show Magnus that he can play the Italian. So repeat the Italian every day now.
Yes. What about the Scotch?
Yeah, the Scotch. Scotch is Jan's favorite. That is 3d4. That's Jan's favorite childhood weapon. But he is exhausted by now. He plays so many games. I don't
think Magnus is falling into this trick that the first move was played by for the photo d4 and then he put it back. I don't think he fell into that. But let's see how we are having.
Our prediction is doing quite well. I'm quite proud. I have all these moves already in the live viewer from before. Rook e1 even, yes. b5, bishop e3, castle. Now I predict a different line than h3, but we'll see. Maybe he'll repeat exactly the same line.
So let's see. If it's not h3, d3.
Yeah, there are various options.
Or
various
a4.
options. Yeah, there is all d3, a4, c3, d4, all kinds of things. But he might. Let's see.
Let's see. We are getting close to it to see whether who is going to be deviating from game one.
Yeah, once again, taking a little moment.
A4.
Yes, that is indeed something I expected for this game. A different sideline, the one that Jan has played before successfully, the one that Magnus has faced countless times as well. So something that both players have prepared for the match, something that Magnus looked at extensively. Here, Magnus has tried all the moves, like b4 is the main move. That's the one he played in match after the match with Karyakin. There is also bishop b7, and there is a new rare move, rook b8, that Magnus tried against Duda very recently in the World Cup. A little bit of a strange move, unlikely to be played now as it was more used as a surprise weapon. I think the main choice here is between b4 and bishop b7 for Magnus. But he has made his choice, of course, and now he is there faking a little thing. We'll see what happens.
Well, of course, probably this is the main move which Magnus was preparing. And so what is rook b8 actually? I'm curious about. But yeah, okay, bishop b7 is on
bishop b7 played. The idea of rook b8 was that if Magnus basically got to play the delayed Marshall gambits. With the inclusion of a4 rook b8, he got this Marshall gambit, which is c3 d5 here. And that happened in Duda against Carlsen. And the game was eventually drawn in the World Cup. Kind of a funny inclusion, a4, ab, and rook b8. Unclear who exactly it favors. But that's not something Magnus played now. Now he played bishop b7, which is arguably the main move nowadays. I've played it myself when it was not so popular. I played it against Niels Grandelius, a Swedish #1. But then recently, it's been played by many strong players. And the very recent game was Vasila Graf against Caruana, played just about a month ago, where Fabiano went for bishop b7. So very trendy system, and we'll get to see what Jan prepared against it. I think from now on, still many moves for both players are going to come in which they are going to be in book, because this is a major theoretical variation that they both prepared extensively.
Yes, we have d3 on the board.
d6. And already here White has a choice, but let's just wait, because Jan has definitely made up his mind. His team made up his mind before the game, and we'll see what he has prepared. I believe there is the move c3, there is also the move h3. There are also some moves like bishop d2, preventing knight a5, developing the bishop. Different options, but Jan definitely has picked one.
Yeah, this game seems to be going into a positional game, which I think Magnus does not mind at all. Though I don't know.
Of course. Although the prep has just begun, so we'll see. Knight b2. That is the main move, and now knight d7 is a very trendy system, the one that I played against Niels, and I expect Magnus to repeat it. But there are alternatives. So he could. There is the plan with queen d7 when knight sometimes goes via d8 to e6. There's the plan with knight a5. That's the old main line. Knight a5, bishop a2, and now either c5 or even grabbing the pawn. But knight d7, intending knight c5, that's the fashionable one, the one I would expect Magnus to play, but we'll see.
I like this idea with the queen d7, knight d8, knight
yeah,
d6.
There's something pretty about that, of course. At the same
somehow
time,
you have a very nice places for your pieces. Both of your knights are in the right square. The knight can go to f4, which is a great location.
For sure. But things are, of course, not that simple as well. White knight will go via f1 to g3 to f5, start potential attack against the king with the strong knight on f5. So queen d7, although a big move, is not so simple. The current modern theory really has knight d7 as the main line.
What's the idea behind knight d7? Black wants to go knight c5,
yeah, for sure.
The main idea to go king h8 and f5?
I believe knight c5 first, and the idea is that you somehow want to challenge the a4 pawn. So if you go c3, knight c5, bishop c2, I can take on a4 and get the advantage of the bishop pair. And now if bishop a4, ba, queen a4, now f5 suddenly comes in handy. Oh, excuse me, queen b3 is there.
Oops, what about queen b3?
Exactly, but the f5 idea is going to be there.
Generally,
perhaps
f5
after king h8, yeah, f5 queen b3 is funny. I've never seen this this trap in this position, but it's kind of easy to fall for in a bullet game. In a bullet game, yes. And the idea is that if you go ab to avoid that, then you have simplified tremendously. And simplifications, of course, benefit black, who has a bit of less space here in the center with his pieces a little bit cramped. But Magnus, he likes to deviate. That's what we had seen so far. He likes to deviate from the main theory. He wants to bring something new. His team wants to surprise Jan as early as possible. So I wouldn't be shocked if he plays something else. And queen d7 is a line that he really likes. He played queen d7 in various positions, but it's something that Jan prepared against as well. So I'm not sure. Maybe knight a5. But in any case, Magnus takes a moment, which makes me think that maybe he will deviate from knight d7. Maybe he'll play something rare.
Can black go with the Breyer kind of idea to go knight b8?
Knight b8, the Breyer maneuver, yeah?
Yes.
I would guess it's also played in this position, though I have to be honest, I don't think it's that popular. Definitely something for it. The only thing compared to the Breyer is that in the Breyer, the bishop kind of hits e4 pawn, and now it's well protected by the d3 pawn, and as my knight heads towards f5, not sure the setup with the bishop on b7 is that effective, but again, then you get d5 push later on. I mean, knight b8 is definitely something that's been played like hundreds of times, I'm sure. It's a very common plan, and the thing about this position is that if both players were out of book, it's easy to improvise, but I think nowadays this is just the beginning of the analysis, and I'm sure that knight b8 and queen d7, all these setups have been checked carefully by Jan, and he knows exactly what he's going to be doing. And it gets very concrete very quickly. So I don't think that Magnus is sort of thinking now, about this position. He's probably choosing from different things they've prepared, or he's just faking a thing.
Well, why is he thinking? He's thinking probably choosing out of the different alternatives he had in mind. Right?
Yeah, one other reason to think when you already know what move you're going to make, and that's something Magnus does a lot and many top players do, I guess is, you already understand that you are going to be surprised because like you thought this line is harmless, but Jan going for it, so it means that there is something that he has in mind. And you know that there's going to be a point in 3 or 4 moves down the line where you will start thinking. And you don't want to blitz till that moment and then start thinking then, showing that you're out of book. You want to start thinking earlier to somehow make it less clear when you got out of book and make it a bit more vague. And that the later thing that you will have will look kind of less obvious. I don't know if I explained it well, but it's kind of that psychological thing that I think people do a lot. I mean,
that you don't want to reveal exactly when is the surprising moment.
Yeah, imagine he plays knight d7 quickly, a b, rook a8, queen a8. Let's say, imagine c3, knight c5 quickly, and now let's say bishop d5. Let's say it's a rare move, and now suddenly here he will take 20 minutes thought. Now imagine a different scenario. He will spend 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, and then 5 more minutes here, and then it's unclear. Where was he out of book? He couldn't have been out of book before because that's known. Maybe he's still not out of book. That is the kind of the kind of logic that perhaps
definitely there is a lot of logic, psychology, and we have rook e8.
It's just an example because bishop d5 loses the d3 pawn. Rook e8. Wow, that must be a very rare move. Because it's not a move. We mentioned 4 moves, and this was not one of them. So I think chances are high that Jan is out of book because that's really
now rare. I wonder if knight g5 would be played just to repeat one move.
No, there's no point. Also, I'm wondering what about d5,
maybe
knight d4.
Nah.
Well, I mean, maybe I don't know. But what's the
d6 stuff?
Yeah, d6 just wins. Yeah, d6 wins probably. Yeah, okay, just d5 d knight d5. Also, there is this knight of 7 business. Yeah, like in this childhood variation, there is this. I don't know. Yeah, but after rook f8, most likely you have to go back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a psychological game, right? To go back and forth. As in a main line of the Ryan Lopez, they've done it so many times, right?
Yeah, for sure. At the same time. This surprise, even if Jan is surprised, which I believe he very well could be, I wouldn't expect him to be prepared for this. It's really like option number 5 or something. Like, it's not a surprise that shocks you. It's just a move, right? It's not a threatening move. Black's very passive here. So Jan is going to just think a bit, probably play c3, the most normal move. There are also moves like h3 and the knight f1. Like, it's all standard, right? So even though the move is new, the position is kind of typical, and I don't think it's the kind of surprise after which you panic. You just think, okay, PTA, we didn't check it. You start to compare, okay, c3, what happens after queen d7, how it compares to queen d7 that you checked. Do you play here c3 as well? Was rook ever coming to e8? You also think about, what about knight a5? How is that different? I have the option of bishop c2. You try to understand what's his point, maybe bishop f8. All these things, but basically it's not a surprise after which your ears turn red and you panic. It's just a surprise that you think, okay, wow, he wanted to surprise me. Probably not the best move though.
Well, I also want to say that I was not playing this line so much, but I was playing, when I did not mind to enter into the Marshall, the c3, d4 setups, right? The classical Zaitsev setup where the pawn stands already c3 and d4. So this is tricky because in this position, thanks for showing exactly. So.
Oh yeah. You meant this repetition in the Zaitsev that happens.
Yes,
a lot,
yes. Yeah. And then, so when we are talking about this position, it is very clear that Black is pushing or putting pressure on the e4 pawn, right? Black goes back to bishop on f8, and sometimes Black can also play knight a5, he takes d4, and so on. So if we go back to the position of the game, it seems logical to play c3 and d4 playing in the center, but it doesn't make sense because it would mean that White is losing the tempo. So White will have to be playing some other plan, playing knight f1, knight e3, reaching out to d5 or f5 square. playing h3 is always a question, right? Especially that already the black bishop went to b7. It's not necessarily a move that we have to make against bishop g4, though many times it's still something that we do.
Yeah, well, one thing I could say, yeah, the difference is quite fundamental, of course. The c3 d4 plan is now much less attractive because you indeed lost the tempo. The advantage for white is, though, that this bishop b7 rook e8 setup kind of aimed against the e4 pawn, which in the Zaitsev with the pawn on d4 is vulnerable. Now with the pawn on d3, it's super well protected. So after knight f1, let's say you move the knight away, bishop a2, this pawn is like a rock in front of this bishop. And what you see very often in d3 Spanish, I don't know if it's going to happen here, but you see very often that the bishop actually finds employment back on c8 and goes back to e6, because on b7 it does very little. The other way, of course, to make use of the bishop is to prepare the d5 push. That's also something that they can do. So imagine something like this, hypothetically, and d5. Now you mentioned h3. Indeed, on one hand, h3 is aimed against bishop g4. On the other, h3 could also just be a useful move, right? Just as a loft, as a waiting move. But I guess here at this very moment, h3 seems a little premature. I think it's knight f1 likely, or c3. And meanwhile, I also looked up the games.
I think knight f1 we have on the board, and I think h3 would be losing of time right now, which is something very important because white has to be fast, I think.
Yes, correct. Now rook e8, I looked it up. It's hasn't been played recently at all. But of course, as it's a decent move, it's been played in the past by Ivanchuk a couple of times, by Mickey Adams, who is a known connoisseur of the Spanish. It's been played by Matlakov Maxim, who is a young player, but he played it in 2009 when he was rated lower than 2600. So very young Matlakov Maxim played it. So rook e8, a move that you could prepare against because it's played in 82 games. But for example, the move knight a5 has been played in 800 games. So in that sense, it's like 10 times less popular than knight a5. So rook e8, not sure how well Jan is prepared, but knight f1 is the main move. And we are going to see what Magnus has in mind. Here, bishop f8, been played h6. And other moves are already
after bishop f8, can't white go knight g5? Isn't it some problem?
Bishop f8, to be honest, bishop f8 really looks ugly to me because of bishop g5 simply as well, right? And knight g5, maybe rook e7, but even yeah, knight g3 maybe, yeah, but bishop g5 also. Bishop g5 kind of bothers me, and Magnus played h6. H6 definitely a more modern move, but bishop f8 it was actually the most popular move. Now h6 is what Ivanchuk played. We still follow the game Svidler Ivanchuk, and by the way, Kasparov Tkachov from 2001, and Grishuk also was there on the white side against Tkachov. So some very old system that Magnus is hoping to surprise his opponent with, and we'll see what Jan will do.
Well, h6 it has its drawbacks as well, because after knight g3 or knight e3, g6 will be not possible to be played for the moment at least. But I think h6 was maybe a must against knight g5 or bishop g5 before he's going to bishop f8.
Yeah, I think bishop f8, bishop g5 looks very bothering. How are you going to deal with the pin? If h6, bishop h4, you don't want to push g5, of course, and otherwise the pin is quite annoying. So h6 is logical. Now, by the way, besides the logical knight g3, which I could imagine you play automatically, there is actually another idea, and that's what Kasparov and Grishuk played, bishop d2, bishop f8 and c4. Suddenly they play sort of on the queen side. That's an interesting.
c4 is a very impressive move.
Yeah, it's rather unusual. I mean, this idea exists, but it's not the most common idea. Mostly you go for this king side stuff with knight g3 to f5, maybe h3, maybe knight h2, knight g4, or all this king side business. But we'll see. I suspect that Jan is very, very vaguely familiar with this. Maybe even completely unfamiliar. And in that sense, Magnus has achieved once again to surprise his opponent. And so far in 3 games, he surprised him 3 times. And that is something his team can be proud of.
Yeah, this is the first time we see practically thinking Jan. Until this point, he was practically playing, flashing out his preparation. Do you think he is surprised by rook e8?
Well, to an extent, for sure. What I really wonder, I think what the question really is, has Jan looked at it at all? Is the question. Like, have they looked at it even a little bit, or have they not looked at it at all? I don't think they looked at it much, because as I mentioned, like, first of all, there is really quite serious amount of work needed to come up with the idea against knight d7, which is the most trendy move. There is knight a5, which is 800 games, and there is queen d7, which is a move that Magnus always likes. And rook e8 is rare, but Jan is aware of this, and he does this rare bishop d2 move. Rare, well, unusual, but the one that's been played by Kasparov and Grishuk. So I think that Jan actually is aware of this line as well. I don't think you play bishop d2 this quickly if you have never seen this before. It's a move that you don't come up with on your own so quickly. So I think Jan is actually still in book. Well done. Well done him and his team.
Well, yeah, I think by now it is very clear for the team Jan that Magnus is going to be looking for second, third, fourth option,
yes, exactly.
in key positions, right?
Exactly,
already basic positions.
His approach is already clear, and that's why they've kind of figured him out, and they're checking all the moves now at the very starting position.
Yeah, and I don't know if Magnus will be thinking for some time or no, but maybe I would invite you to look a very short video, just less than 2 minutes, how the players were preparing. But let's start with Nepomniachtchi, how he was preparing when they made an interview with him after the Stavanger tournament.
Ian Nepomniachtchi is walking into probably his last over-the-board tournament before the World Championship match.
Very likely, because there is not such a big choice of the tournaments, and some of them are, basically not interesting enough.
He played 2 matches against world champion Magnus Carlsen in Norway chess. Both ended in draw, but Nepomniachtchi lost in Armageddon.
2 relatively quick draws, but I guess games were more or less fine, but I don't think it really matters.
What matters now is the World Championship, but he does not want to talk about his preparations.
Did you get some answers today?
Well, even if I got some answers, I would never tell about it.
Have you gathered a team?
Well, I believe this is sort of a secret. So,
what's the plan now for you leading up to the World Championship match?
Well, I just continue my preparation. So the plan is simple, and then I play the match.
You were in New York in 2016, and some people were saying maybe you were working with Karakin somehow. But will you be talking to him before the match to get some advice?
Well, why not? I think if it would be useful, then okay, of course I will talk to him. But actually, I just was in New York as a guest, so just was very interesting, to basically to hang around here, to feel the atmosphere of the match. And of course, it's a very special chess event here. You can't attend it every day.
Magnus Carlsen has held the throne for 8 years.
How are you feeling about the match?
Of course, I'm excited, and I'm really looking forward. It's really challenging.
How will you beat Magnus in the match?
Just wait for a couple of months. Yeah.
Well, let's see if the couple of months passed and if he's going to make it. And we have few moves.
Yeah, Jan played 93. Jan's still in book. I've had the time now to look at the database a little closer at what the computers are saying nowadays. And rook e8, h6, bishop f8 setup that Magnus employed. It's not the very top choices, but it's also not too disliked by the computer. And Jan is responding in the what seems like the most challenging way. So I think he's not too shocked to see this. Now there's an interesting variation possible after knight e7, which is one of the moves. The knight is not doing too much on c6, so it tries to move away and perhaps grab space in center with c5. Now, perhaps you can guess the move that the engine suggests, the move that you probably would play in a split second as well.
I would.
Yes, you would.
Queen b1.
Okay, wow, this is classic. No, I was expecting more, a bit more direct.
g4.
Which one?
g4.
G4. That's the first line. G4. Exactly. And
You're
Magnus played
joking.
97. I'm not joking. That's the first line of the neural network engine I have open right now, and that's 97 G4. Magnus played 97 already. Jan, he is aware of the move G4, I think, but that is also
Jan
possible.
will go G4.
Also, against a well-prepared Magnus, scary. How many hours did he spend
here? If you
here?
want to win the match, you go G4.
If the position is, if you are both out of book, for sure. But if your opponent is well prepared, there is also C4, which I mentioned, a little safer, also challenging. He went for a safer move, C4. Pity, because G4, he didn't even give us time to speculate. I mean, G4, such an exciting idea. Maybe I'm giving something away when I mentioned this G4. Maybe I should have kept it for my young games, now that I said it. But okay.
No, but actually, I like very much this C4 idea.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
much more safe, of course.
Previously also. So after C4, black goes C6, I guess.
There are options, yeah.
Or Queen B7.
He took BC, actually. By the way, I should mention, the reason he played 93 first is against C4, the move B4 is possible. Now after 93, 97, C4, black cannot play B4. So he went BC, white usually takes with the bishop, and you get this strange structure. B4 usually is an idea, Queen B3, maybe B5. Interesting idea.
Well, we might see a G4 idea, let's say, in game 8.
But yes and no. I think that Magnus, the move Rook E8 is something you play for one game. I think it's a surprise weapon. I don't think you want to have that as a battleground because white has so many ideas. I think that Rook E8, and in general, Magnus' strategy is to have a surprise for first game and for second game to do something else. I think that's his strategy. I don't think we will see Rook E8 anymore in the match. Just like I don't see we will see this line in the match. I think both the players, they're just jumping. Nowadays, with so much theory, it's hit and run strategy. Try something, then move on. Try something and move on. But after C4, BC, there is one more exciting line that is possible. That's knight takes C4, Rook B8. And now things can still get very exciting. And I'll once again let you show your...
Can white sacrifice on E5?
Exactly, knight takes E5. DE knight E5 is a great idea. Black, by the way, shouldn't panic, just goes knight E5. E5, bishop takes D5, gives back the piece, and has compensation for the pawn, quite drawish. Takes, bishop C3, bishop B4, pawn down, but some chances. Also, knight
very
C4.
good compensation, I guess. For the
also,
pawn.
knight C6 simply is possible, defending the e-pawn. I guess knight G6 allows knight A5, so that's why knight C6 possible to go back and just protect the E5 pawn. We'll see. I think we'll get to see here. Knight C4 is the choice of the computer. Bishop C4 kind of looks to me more human in some way to push before Queen B3.
Yeah, but also Queen B3 immediately is a strong threat.
Yeah, so I expect Rook B8 to be played. And you have to deal with D5 though, constantly. I don't know if it's possible right away.
You could also play maybe Queen D7 to develop.
You want to trap my queen. You want to trap my queen against this. If I do that, the queen is trapped on B7. But what if I start with Queen B3?
I don't know, knight G6.
Am I still trapped? Interesting.
So I don't know if you can.
Oh, no. Here, sorry. Here I could take here and I'm not trapped anymore. But Jan is prepared. Jan is aware of this. He plays knight takes c4. Yeah, good prep by Jan as well. But I guess usually, when you go into the obscure line like Rook E8 with black, even if white is well prepared, black is usually prepared deeper because you chose that small battleground with that rare move Rook E8, and opponent, white has like 6 options to prepare against, and you have just 1, so you go deeper. I expect Magnus to be the last one to leave his opening book here. But we'll see. After knight takes c4, as I mentioned, the choice of knight c6. Knight c6
yes, I'm
versus
curious
Rook B8.
if he wants to go Rook B8, because if after Rook B8 white captures on E5.
But if that's a forced, it could be a forced draw or something if you go deep enough.
Yeah, I mean, it has such a great compensation for black that, and it is very much what Magnus likes, I think. And it's not something that Nepo would like to go for.
Yeah, well, let's say this position, rook b8, knight takes e5, takes, knight d5 back. You have to give back the piece, otherwise f7 is hanging. And then take everything, bishop c3, bishop b4, queen c2, take c5. I mean, this is clearly just very one-sided. White is just up a pawn, but these pawns are weak. The b3 square is weak. And of course, it's very, very drawish. I mean, Jan is not worried here at all, but maybe Magnus has worked it out, his team worked it out so far that it's a draw. But actually, it seems that they were not so satisfied with it, and he went knight c6, preventing knight e5 and keeping the tension on the board. Now it's Jan's move, and let's see if he's still in book and if he still plays a quick move here.
It's a very interesting position, very unusual structure in some ways.
Yeah, my kind of instinct would be to prepare d4 with bishop c3. That would be kind of my instinct. But there are different options.
And how Black is playing? After knight c6, Black's plan to regroup his bishop to bishop c8 and e6?
Rook b8, bishop c8, bishop e6, perhaps. Yeah, one idea. Yeah, perhaps. I mean, next move probably is rook b8. You really want that rook on this semi-open file. But
isn't White just simply taking over, let's say, bishop a2, rook b8, b4?
Well, yes, but bishop a2, I think I don't want to allow b4. Maybe I'll go a5.
a5.
d5 might not work, right? Because of the...
For the moment, not, but yeah. I like a5 very much.
Yeah, I think I like that a5. And after a5, okay, White, of course, White is not worse, but you do have some issues, like the b4 square is weak, d4. Okay, d4 you probably can push, but yeah, it's actually very complex. I don't know, a5, bishop c3 maybe. If you imagine we get to trade d4 and trade your knight, the a5 pawn could also be a weakness. And I don't know how is this kind of thing. Knight a5 maybe was there. I don't know. Weird position, like a very weird position.
Bishop c8, is it slow?
Can I push d4 or not? This looks really good for me, yeah? This a5 pawn is weak now.
Yes.
Also, question is, what about rook b8, b4, d5, ed, knight b4? Looks good for Black now, or am I missing some tactic? Maybe rook b8 just prevents b4, yeah? Because if before d5 works, then I don't need to. Because a5, at first I was happy, then I started thinking maybe it's potential weakness.
Yes.
Also queen d2, also simply next. Not sure. Maybe just rook b8. So I'm not sure if bishop a2, if you don't get b4 push, not sure bishop a2 is such a great move.
So if instead of bishop a2, I also have an idea to go knight a5. I understand that it's maybe it's simplifying it too fast, but let's say knight a5.
What I like about knight a5 is that after takes, I don't get to play c5, which is something I would want to play.
And now it's happening with bishop f7.
I have to waste the move. Okay, I play probably queen d7, and now
bishop c4.
Bishop c4. Probably I go c5. Like d5 once again doesn't seem to work, so probably I go c5.
Bishop c3. Well, d5 yes. You're not going to be playing, right?
Yes.
For some time at least.
Which kind of makes you wonder if White is not a little bit better here, yeah? Yeah, it's hard to say what's going on. Let me think again if here maybe I could be more precise. 95, I think, yeah, you take, and... d7, bishop c4, d5, ed. I can also, because d5 sometimes can work, but maybe d5 here takes bishop d6. Yes, and take next on d5, d4, e4, knight d2.
And if bishop e3, bishop c3,
bishop c3, yes, bishop c3.
Well, we get something similar.
Yeah, but that White is happy with it. I think White is slightly better. I don't think Black wants that. You mean the position, just generally a position like that? Yes. I think White is happy. Like it's of course drawish, but you're up a pawn for basically nothing. Okay, you have some weak squares, some weak pawns, but it's one more pawn.
No, yeah, White is better there.
And if queen d6, bishop c3.
I think also rook c1 is possible. I'm not sure I want to rush bishop after queen d6.
Rook c1 here.
No. After rook d6. Where?
By the way, what about rook c1 here?
Yes, also.
How is black dealing with knight a5?
I think rook b8. I like rook b8.
Yeah, but now knight a5. Maybe now bishop a8. Oh no, sorry, nice thing. So take. But it's better now, no, with rook on c1 or not?
No, it looks more aggressive.
Looks kind of threatening. Here also possible to go a5. Let's see what the internet's saying.
But actually, after a5, it can be very interesting that the knight moves away to a3, for example, and white goes bishop c4, bishop b5, and then comes back knight c4. And if white is able to regroup the pieces that way, it can be extremely dangerous.
So you mean at which point? At this point to play?
No, here after rook c1.
Rook c1, yes.
Knight a3.
A5. Knight a3. To this square.
And bishop c4, bishop b5.
Yeah, you could also do that with the knight on e3, right? Kind of.
Yeah, I just wanted to keep in mind maybe knight on b5.
Yeah, both possible. Also after a5, you can. I mean, I always have somehow this I want to always bring the bishop to c3. I'm not sure if it's good, but maybe queen d2 is an option. No, bishop c8 maybe.
Yes,
and now maybe
d4,
but it's quite concrete. Yeah, what I expect is that Magnus is still in book. Did he play rook c1, by the way?
Can't black go knight e4?
I think he played rook c1, by the way.
Very healthy move.
Yeah, good move. Now knight a5. Just to give knight a5, bishop a5. Yeah, knight a5 was possible. Rook c1. Also, rook c1 is probably the main move. He's still in book. And now let's see what Magnus will play. Quite interesting, that nobody played in 10 years. Nobody knows about it. But for these two players, it's some kind of a big theoretical tabia. And so many moves in. They're both clearly in their prep, which is quite remarkable. That's really the level of prep at the World Championship match. That what for them is a battleground for theoretical discussion is something that nobody else has any clue about, and that's what happens when you prepare for so many months for an event this important.
Well, now that you talk about the prep part, I think it's time for us to see the very short video how Nilsson, his head coach, Magnus's head coach, thinks about the preparation for this match and opening wise.
Let's hear that.
Is it already sort of the start of not showing your ideas, not playing your best openings and stuff like that?
Well, I will say at this point, I don't know what my ideas are yet, so I'll just treat it as a normal game.
In very short, our job is to create an opening database for Magnus to use in the World Championship match. The head of the team is Magnus. Magnus gives us some directions where we want to go, and we try to fulfill these kind of wishes. Well, here you're up against someone who's probably also spent half a year together with a team. We have so much time that we have to create this big puzzle of options and such. Our assumption is just that Magnus is the best player in the world and such, and I mean, it's not our job to win games. I mean, well, if we are the underdog, we might try such, but we think Magnus is the best player in the world, I think even by quite some margin, right? So it's, well, we more have to neutralize and make sure he gets some territory where he can show he's the best player. Our role is to make sure Magnus gets the ability to show he's the best player in the world. So it's, well, we shouldn't make mistakes, we shouldn't get him into this kind of trouble, but sort of to have brilliant preparation for him to win is not sort of, we don't see it as a necessity.
Well, it seems that the confidence is there.
Yeah, taking the pressure off himself as well. Yeah, the head coach. The head coach is like, well, we have the best player, so it's not our job to win for him. He has to do it himself. That's nice. Taking the pressure off himself and putting it back on Magnus' shoulders. Why not?
Yes, but it means that they know it's going to be a very tough match. But even if something goes wrong and Jan will take the lead first, then still they have to keep this in mind that Magnus is the best player right now in the world, right?
Well,
but
yeah,
still it's not going to be easy.
It's an assumption. I think there's a big difference between being the best player in the world and showing it in an event with 14 games, because that's the beauty of sports, right? You have so many different sports where it's already clear what is the hierarchy, because you have so much data, like so many tournaments. By now Magnus has proven that he is sort of on average the best player in the world, but this is one event, and the point of the World Championship match is actually not to find out who is the best player in the world. The point is to find out who is winning the World Championship. Otherwise, why host it? The guy has 50 rating points more than anyone else for 10 years. So we might as well just cancel the tournament and say, okay, let's not risk it. Let's not risk and just let's all agree Magnus is the best. But yeah, he has to show it, and there is the role of circumstance. The opening, the some luck here and there, some tension, some time trouble. Anything can happen, and that's why sports are exciting, because it's never fully predictable.
And also, I mean, Magnus is very much a tournament player, right? I mean,
yes.
He has all these practical attitude. Of course, when he loses a game, of course, he comes back and he just plays all the game for a win. But of course, when you talk about a match, it has a completely different psychology behind it. I mean, every point counts the double.
Yeah, you are right. But of course, yeah, you're absolutely right. And Magnus, I mean, he's probably the best, whatever format. But yeah, 14 games, things can go wrong. Anything can happen. He can have a bad day. Maybe he suddenly has a bad mood because of something. So things can happen. And now he's thinking, which is a little bit early. So far, no shocks. I have to say, I still can't help but think back to this moment. Let's actually pause here once again and just point out that we missed a huge opportunity here with G4 to get an insanely complicated game. And it's a pity, because it's, okay, I don't know, I only have one engine that I put on now, one of the best neural network engines. There are many others, but that engine that I have now shows this as the best move. And the variations here are very exciting. I mean, it's possible to go d5 right away, which would be my instinct on the play against on the flank. You reply in the center, but also a move like knight h7 is suggested to first prevent g5, and then one line goes h4, queen d7, g5, c5, gh c4. Total mess. dc, I think bishop e4. Some crazy complications. Could be very exciting. So kind of a missed opportunity there for spectators. Would have been really cool.
Do you think it was something that Magnus was provoking?
Oh, for
Jan
sure.
to play
He was
G4?
hoping. Oh, yeah. He went, of course, very deep. He fixed it all. He made sure that black is not losing. He made sure the black is fine, and he went deep in these complications. And I think as his position was coming, he was getting really excited, hoping that, wow, maybe I'll get to show my deep prep after G4. But Jan looked at, I'm sure during the prep, they looked at both options, and they said, okay, you know what, Jan, if this guy with his team, they want to spend 3 days on G4 or whatever amount of time they want to spend on it, let's, if we'll get surprised with this, let's sidestep it, go the C4, go for safe plus, and not give him what he wants. And so he played C4. But of course, as a spectator, can't help but not mention that, yeah, it was a missed opportunity, because also it was like the first one of the best moves. So it's not like a crazy gamble, but of course, yeah, would have been a very big risk, too high risk maybe for the World Championship.
But I think we can also say that, for example, this moment, if you go back to the moment where G4 was an option, that if it's a tournament situation, then most likely, knowing Jan's style of chess, he would go for G4, being extremely enthusiastic about it, that what an exciting position is going to be arising after that, right? All the pieces are still on the board. And now we go to the match, and of course, he's also, even though he's a very attacking, very sharp, very interesting player, he controls himself, or his team controls him, right? He says, okay, for now you control yourself, you don't go crazy sharp things, even though if we analyze those things, because we know Magnus, he did his homework. So you just go C4 and play very solid and try to go on Magnus's nerve, that to show that you're controlling everything. So show me, Magnus, how you can beat me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I fully understand it. And like you said, I think besides the difference versus a tournament, which is less important, an World Championship match, but also I think in a tournament, you would always think that, okay, maybe opponent missed his G4, maybe he used a different engine that didn't show it, or maybe he's looked at G4, but not too deeply. But of course, when you prepare for the match, you realize that, okay, this position, of course, Magnus looked at very, very carefully. You don't allow G4 and then say, okay, knight H7, H4, C5, Queen D7, like you don't say, okay, and here I stop, unclear. You continue further and further, and you try to understand what's going on. And of course, it's very double-edged. I mean, White pretended that he attacks, but actually he pushed the knight away from the center. But in fact, his king might be weaker at the moment, right? There's no pawns in front of it. Queen is sort of coming. So the positions are, it's unclear whose king is more unsafe. While White is the one who started the attack, actually, maybe he's the one who now has a pawn advantage, but is the one defending. So not clear if this would be a great practical decision at all. I just want to point out that it's something that was there and something that could have happened, but didn't. And now we are in this position. A little surprised that Magnus is thinking, because Rook C1 is one of the top choices of computers, still gives White a small plus. So I would expect Magnus to still be in book, but he is thinking now.
If Black goes Queen D7, let's say, with an idea just to move away with his knight after that, is it a very bad move because it blocks the way Bishop C8, Bishop E6? And how can White go? Can White go A5, Bishop A4?
A5, Bishop A4, definitely an idea. What I always feel myself when I see these Spanish structures with Bishop here and Queen here, I always feel in general, like as we have the Bishop facing this pawn on E4, which is protected, as I like to point out. Now I feel there are two ways of dealing with that strategic issue. There is the eventual transfer of the Bishop to this diagonal, probably to E6 square. And there is the preparation of the D5 push, which is another way of activating the bishop. And you could, of course, focus on that with Queen D7 and then justify the placement of these two pieces by somehow pushing D5 in the center.
Basically, sorry to interrupt. Basically, what you're trying to say that everything is right now in the focus of the B7 bishop, how it can get into play.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the main issues Black would like to solve, right? And yeah, I think you could say that play revolves mainly around that, although there are some other factors also in play. But I think, yeah, it's important to deal with this question of what the bishop does here. But like you mentioned,
I think it's a very instructive way you were saying it, and it's very important when players are looking openings, and it doesn't matter whether the position itself is roughly equal or a little bit worse. If you're leaving your pieces in a bad spot, then you will pay its price, right? And if you can maneuver and regroup your pieces to the right place, how the Karpov was always one of the key person, I think, who was so good in this, somehow placing all the pieces in just the right square, being ready for everything, then things can go on your way.
Yeah, I mean, as we mentioned also earlier in the earlier games or the broadcasts, chess sort of is, of course, a very complicated game and so on and so forth, but it often comes down to simple things, such as improving the piece that stands badly and so on, because, you know, the chess is a game where logic plays a role, and although it's complicated, it can often be traced back to simple things. And I think that, yeah, if you look at all these complicated lines that the computer gives, it always comes down to computer trying to either push D5 or bring the bishop back. Now the first option, and he finally played A5, that's the first option. And now the way game is likely to continue is bishop C3, bishop C8, stopping queen D2 because of bishop G4, very unpleasant to face now. You don't want to take this pawn, right, because you weaken this king's shelter. And now if D4, then just take, queen takes. And I kind of thought that it's horrible for Black because the pawn is hanging. But after bishop E6, it seems that knight A5 probably met by, what is it met by? C5 and bishop B3 or bishop B3?
Well, C5 is possible, maybe.
C5, yeah, but I'm wondering, there was
and then bishop B3 and taking on E4.
Yeah, that's maybe what it is, yeah? Yeah, and you're kind of okay. I was just wondering.
A4...
E4 is hanging here as well. Yeah, E4 is hanging. Yeah.
But can we go back for a second, because it was interesting for me that instead of d4, queen d2, you said bishop g4.
Yeah.
So if knight a5, let's say, why is it so bad?
Let's think. I sort of assumed that, there's also c7 hanging. I sort of assumed that, let's see, here, there is rook c7 actually.
There is something going on.
We have to calculate what's going on here. I assume that you go gf, then knight h, but even that isn't so clear. You have this c7 pawn. Yeah, I missed the c7 that's hanging. Maybe it's not bishop g4. Let's think here.
I was wondering.
That's very complex. Queen d2 is interesting for sure. Very complex. I don't know.
But okay,
position.
now you can go bishop e6 simply, I think.
And if
knight a5,
bishop b3,
b3,
knight b3, rook a4. Yeah. And once you trade these queenside pawns, it should more or less be equal.
No.
Maybe just simple bishop e6. Yeah. Bishop g4 was not quite clear. Yeah, bishop e6 is a good response. Yeah, and d4 takes bishop e6, and this position kind of likely to be okay for black. And I think Magnus is still in his prep, because so far Jan has followed one of the main recommendations of the computer, and one variation can arise here is queen d3, and after d5 you win a pawn, but of course with the bishop pair it's very drawish, just bishop somewhere, bishop here, and very good compensation for black.
Interesting what you're saying, that you want to sacrifice that pawn. Isn't it possible to go knight e4 and d5?
Knight e4? You have to deal with this rook takes e6 business, maybe.
That's true.
Yeah, that's probably it, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, knight a5, indeed c5 is it was the issue as I thought as well. Yeah, knight a5, c5. So black seems to be okay in this bishop c3, d4 line. Maybe white has some other options, but I don't know. Bishop c3, d4, supernatural, because you want to somehow target the a5 pawn, right?
And somehow I have the feeling that time is very important here. Every tempo counts very seriously, because if black has the time to regroup his bishop c8 to e6, then black can get even better.
Well, and likewise, if white got an extra move with queen d2, you're just collecting a5 for free. So like you said, it's all bishop c3, bishop c8, queen d2, bishop e6, move by move, just in time. And if d4, again, just in time, takes, it looks bad because a5 is hanging just in time, bishop e6, if knight a5, c5. So move by move, black is okay. And that's what you see in modern prep. That's the way computer plays, because humans could just say that, okay, bishop c3 and d4 are better for white and stop. But the computers are saying, okay, wait a second, it's all concrete. I have bishop e6. How do you play? And things can often, somehow things that look dangerous for black can still be held.
Again, we see a scene which we've seen before. None of the players are at the board.
Yeah, that's always a thing, of course. And one thing I wanted to mention when you said about players leaving the board is that what you see a lot in tournaments where there are more than two players is that players look at other games, at least I like to do that myself, and many of my colleagues do. But now when you have just two players, they have nothing else to do but just be in the restroom, watch their own game. It's different than a tournament.
Yes, in a tournament, I remember when I was a kid and I was traveling with my sisters also. We were playing in big tournaments. That was very common that we stood up and we were watching other games, of course, how they are going, especially if we saw some big guys playing. But also we were even chatting with each other time to time when we were very small. And it was illegal, right? It was against the rules.
Back in the day, it was kind of looked, how it's called, like people looked through, like they allowed it. I think it was okay, back in the day.
Yeah, but which I'm talking about, 35 years ago when I was about 10 or something. And it was very interesting that for a long time I saw, and there were some people who were desperately wanted to talk during the game. And of course, they were not talking about the position, so there was nothing wrong with that. But simply that was a way of giving away the tension, right?
Mm-hmm.
And But I had to stop myself also at the when I played in the under 14 championship, because we got some accusations that when I'm talking to Sophia that maybe we talk about chess and stuff like that. Well, we were not. We were talking about other things. But
yeah, at the time the girls were beating the boys because they were joining together. Yeah, was the was their explanation. But they found out quickly that that was not the case. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was clear by the time I played in the Olympiad. It was very clear we cannot talk. People will accuse us possibly that we are talking about chess. And but I think for some grandmasters even it was a very big problem that when people told them that you cannot talk because it's against the rule. So they they didn't know how to give away the tension.
Yeah, and I remember I read about it in Garry Kasparov in Nikitin's book, his coach, his first coach. That Garry Kasparov was also doing that a lot. Like at one of the first events he played at the high level, he was walking around and talking all the time to other people, and his coach noticed that his concentration went down. And after these conversations, he would come to the board and make mistake. And okay, Garry was very talented, of course, youngster. And the coach told him, okay, no more talking. From now on, when it's your move, you sit behind the board and you just can't he said that you don't calculate because it will tire you out. You don't know which move to make, but just sit at the board, look at the position and let the ideas flow into your head. And that's something I learned as well, a very interesting concept, just sitting behind the board, just looking at the position and, let the patterns, just bishop c8, bishop e6, knight before, knight d4, d5, ed, knight d4. Let just the ideas flow into your head. Maybe something will come up later on. Kind of an interesting advice by Kasparov's first coach there.
So this is what you do also when your opponent is on move?
Well, I have to say I'm guilty of doing the other thing, like following other games, because I'm sort of too curious. I go too often. I also had a coach who told me that I should also stop doing that. But kind of, I don't know. I like that. So I'm sometimes guilty of that. Bishop c3, by the way, played. So I expect bishop c8, d4, all this to happen. What we showed, bishop c8, d4, takes, bishop e6. And now black is just in time.
Is there another way for black to play after bishop c3?
I think this is like supernatural and supernatural, not like supernatural, but like very natural. And also,
what about bishop a6?
Isn't this hanging, or you have some? I don't see a trick.
You just take that. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, again, like that has to be connected with d5 push, right? Because otherwise, how do you deal with that? And queen d2 is coming. I don't see it.
Well, it might be just the only move.
Well, I mean, maybe there is some second-rate move, but this is like the most natural and the best.
What about playing knight d7?
Interesting, yeah. Now queen d2 is met by knight.
Knight c5 is the idea.
Yeah, bishop c2 is very ugly. But what will happen after that? It is very ugly, of course.
You just want to take my pawn on a5.
Yeah, let's say I'm very greedy and I just want to take the pawn at all cost.
Can black go d5?
Yeah, d5. Yeah, I'm not really happy with what I've done to my position here.
I mean, look at the c line.
Yeah, okay, let's go d4. Let's go d4. Oh, c file is, yeah, this is a nice one here. It's full. So rook c8 is needed and then it's complete.
Or bishop c8, finally.
Like, there are these games like Tetris stuff, like you play rook c8 and suddenly like they all like and they'll clear up, yeah? And they go like Tetris. Yeah, that would be nice. If it all clears up, black will remain a piece up, yeah, in the end. So rook c8 kind of winning a piece in the chess Tetris. No, but actually d4, yeah, d4 is
I would take a knight c5.
Now you target my pawn, yeah?
Or take first on d4. And knight
knight d7 looks like an alternative for sure. I don't know how this position is assessed though. Still maybe unpleasant. Maybe now your idea of knight e4.
Knight e4. I just want to simplify everything.
Yeah, let's see if that works. Rook e4.
Takes.
Oh, yeah, you take twice whatever happens.
Whatever way you do it, I just take with the bishop. Take with the rook.
I mean, probably I've again nothing, and I just have to go for this, and it's cannot be much, but it is a little bit better, maybe.
Queen g5.
Yeah, hoping I blunder my rook here, and if I don't, I mean, it cannot be not a little bit better, right? With the bishop hitting the pawn.
Something, I don't know.
But it's not much, yeah, not much.
Bishop d6, right?
Not much. The question is again, yeah, knight d7 is actually looks like a reasonable alternative. The question is, does black need an alternative to bishop c8? But we'll see. We'll see what Magnus. Knight d7, yes, another way of playing. Very sensible, actually. Maybe also you don't have to simplify this desperately. Maybe you can do something else as well. Maybe queen g5 first, hitting the rook.
The question is still on knight a5, bishop e4.
Yeah. Now at the end of the variation, the rook will be hanging. Yeah. So here, as this rook leaves.
Yeah. Sometimes
this looks reasonable. This, by the way, looks quite
f4.
decent for black. Yeah. Knight d7 also. Knight d7 kind of feels a bit like a more ambitious way of playing. Yeah, for black.
Somehow a knight on c5 looks nice.
Yeah. Of course, if you kick my bishop back, you are very happy. Yeah.
And also keep an eye on e4, on a4.
Yeah, and there is the way for the queen
block
to come
your
out.
rook a little bit on the c file.
For sure. Let's see what Magnus comes up with. I believe Magnus, once again, is it's in the file, as I always like to say, because the files are always huge, but what's left in the head is never as much because it's too much.
Very famous for his good memory.
Yeah.
And he's laughing now. Look at that.
What's up?
He's smiling now. He was smiling, laughing on something. Even now, he keeps himself.
He remembered something with his very good memory, probably. Something funny. Yeah, I'm actually very curious about this memory thing. Of course, he has a good memory, but I am curious how exceptional that is compared to his colleagues. Because you do see him time and again mixing up things. I think because not so much because of the memory, but because sometimes he takes a laid-back approach. He doesn't bother too much to repeat some files. He doesn't want to waste energy. Sometimes you think something is so unlikely. Why would you waste energy, waste nervous energy and look at that instead of saving energy and just playing the game?
Bishop c8 is on the board.
Yeah. No, I think he smiled because he remembered something from his training session where this happened, and then Freycinet made some kind of joke, and it made him think of that, and he recollected, that whole scene.
Maybe now he knows that in 10 moves they agree to a draw and they go for a free day. They go to play soccer. So it's time to make the team work. And then next game, white game, against something sharp.
Yeah, maybe that's why he smiled. That's also possible. The genius mind of Magnus might have wandered anywhere, and it's hard to predict. And maybe it's something he smiled because something we don't even want to know. It's also possible.
Well, very interesting position. Can white just keep the tension and not play d4, not to go into the simplification? Let's say I go knight a3 and regroup it to b5.
You want to do it this way, yeah. What about?
Yeah, let's say I want to play on.
Yeah, how do I want to pin or not? I'm wondering, am I going to go to h5? Because that is always very, very risky. Because the bishop, of course, on g6, you do weaken the king. First of all, knight g4 is to be considered. But let's say bishop g6.
I just go knight h4.
Yes, I weakened a bit the white king, but the bishop kind of belongs on this diagonal, of course. Neutralized this one.
It looks like your bishop is needed on the queen side very much.
Yeah, if you split the board along the f file, the bishop is sort of out of the game. Very often when the pawn's on d3, the general rule in the Spanish, when the pawn's on d3, don't put the bishop on g6. Here it's a little bit different maybe, because c-pawn is gone, some opposite structure is a bit softer.
I would go for this with white.
Knight h4, bishop h4. Yeah, bishop g4 I was not at all forced. I just, what about d? I don't know, this is hanging or not. d5, ed, knight d5. Just hanging
bishop
or?
e5, why not?
This pawn sack is always possible, I believe, but I don't know how great it is. Yeah, takes.
Well, of course, pawn sacrifice is always possible. The question is whether enough compensation.
Yeah,
but I like my knight on b5 once.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure it was the best for black. And what about some neutral move like bishop e6?
Knight b5.
You don't even trade. Yeah, you can just first. Interesting. Let's see what are the options
I just want to go positional. And I mean, your a5 pawn can easily get weak. And I have another knight to regroup with knight d2 to c4 one day.
Yeah, no, for sure. You have some potential. Let's see what about bishop g4, because here I am asking, like, it's quite demanding. You go g4, right?
G4.
This sacrifice probably doesn't work.
time.
Doesn't work because the rook is not on the f file. f5 never a thing. I don't think there is a follow-up. You can just bring the rook to e, right?
Yeah,
Or
it doesn't look so dangerous for
doesn't
white.
look, yeah, I don't. No, that doesn't. No threat even. Bishop g6. Now what? Do you want to play knight h4? I have to, yeah. This is kind of a threat, so I have to probably go.
Okay,
back.
I go knight f5.
Yes. Now I was thinking d5 push will be really nice. Now that to activate my bishop.
I'll just go knight b5. I don't care.
Let's see. Interesting.
I don't know if you want to go g6 to stabilize your bishop on h7.
No, stabilizing bishop on h7 is no thank you. Stabilizing the bishop.
Not tempting?
No. There was one game where black played bishop g8. I think a famous Bronstein game, yeah?
Oh my.
Yeah, but let's not do that today. People are watching. Yeah, I have to say it's interesting because it's hard for me to, like, I was happy to push d5, but if you don't take, it's hard for me to resolve because this doesn't improve anything. I open the bishop, like this pawn is well protected.
I love my bishop there on b3.
And
I love my knight on b5.
Knight b4, I'm kind of worried about knight c7 tactic a little bit.
You have all the reasons to worry about knight c7.
Yes, otherwise I would be kind of happy with knight b4, maybe, but I would be happy because I want to go c6, but knight c7 is kind of an issue.
Typical
and if I cannot play...
Principle matters, knight b4 is a good move, but in practice it doesn't work.
Yeah, and slow move like rook c. Okay, let me try, and then knight b4. Let me try. No, I'm not at all like rook c8 is a disgusting move, but let's try.
You don't want to play rook c8. E takes d5.
d5. Is there some queen f3? Some there's all kinds of patterns here arising.
I don't know what's
very worrying. Yeah, very worrying. I mean, I also don't see what for
not sure
have I
that
exposed
you want
myself.
to be on the black side when you play against Jan.
What have I done? What have I done for? What exactly am I? Yeah, knight a3 possible. D4 is so tempting, of course, but knight a3.
No, I mean d4 is the healthy continuation, right? That it's a very straightforward. I want to get the advantage, right, or keep the advantage, or improve the advantage, or whatever. So that's a very straightforward way.
Yeah, it's like clearly the first move comes to mind.
And it's the first move which you have to check, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's the kind of move that if you like it, you don't look for alternative. Knight a3, okay. So the question is also, what if, let's say knight to b4 and I want to push c5 next. And once I push c5, I'm kind of happy.
Maybe that's the move which kills my idea.
Yeah, because now if I get c5, suddenly what are you pressing against? Yeah, I've stopped b4 breaks, d4 breaks, and okay, such structure I don't think white is worse though. You probably just, but you're also not better, right? We both don't really have a break.
But what about knight b4, d4 there?
Yeah, d4 is the only way to do something before the door shuts.
D4.
Before the door shuts. So maybe can I take? And is this e4 pawn by any chance exposed?
So knight e4, knight d4.
Yeah, there are some kind of tactics there with queen f3 and well, I have there. Sure, yeah, I have d5 there after queen f3, but maybe bishop f. Yeah, this is not. You can do this, but I'm not sure if you achieve too much. Yeah, with that, I just go back and just get the bishop pair and the center. Yeah, maybe.
It's better.
Yeah, maybe back is just better. So maybe knight d4 is too much. I thought you go queen d4, but then maybe you were worried about c5. Yeah.
But can I go knight d4, knight e4, and I was wondering if bishop takes b4 and knight c6.
Yeah, I'm also.
But maybe queen h.
Oh, this is hanging,
f6.
by the way. The a3 is hanging, so queen f6 I can play. Next I will take this.
No, I think this I cannot do.
d4 plate, d4 plate.
d4 plate, very straightforward play.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I look back, basically. To call things what they are, this was the moment when Magnus when Nepo was asked, are you crazy or do you want a rest day? And he's like, yeah, I'm not crazy, of course. I just want a rest day. So let's play C4.
Yeah, actually there would be great to have a dictionary of a translation for chess players.
Yeah. You mean they make a move and then suddenly there appears like a statement? Yeah, like, do you think I'm nuts? I'm never doing that. And
like yesterday when Magnus played Queen G4, we understood that it's a draw offer, right?
Yeah, I mean, to say that C4 is a draw offer is exaggerating. It's not a draw offer, but it's him showing that I don't want to lose. I want to play for 2 results. And I understand that most likely result is a draw, but I will take my odds. I will have 0 losing chances. I will take my 10% winning chances. And okay, yeah, good for you. You surprised me with the rook e8. I'm not doing it this G4 today. So fair enough. I mean, there's plenty of play left, but of course the drawish tendencies appear in these variations as things get simplified.
So let's see in this position, bishop a5 is not possible to bishop c4, queen c4, rook a5, queen f7 is not good enough.
Wait, sorry. Where's the viewer? Here's the viewer. So yeah, so it happened. So we'll get this position, I guess, with the queen on d4, bishop e6, and yeah, bishop a5. Bishop c4.
Queen takes, rook takes, queen f7, king h8, rook c7.
It's a lot of pawns, but somehow doesn't feel like the knight on f6 is guards this queen g8. It doesn't feel like black is risking anything. Yeah, here. Maybe rook a5 if I don't blunder anything immediately. Maybe I want rook e7. White lacks a little bit the punch. Yeah, here.
Queen g. I am. No, I lose my rook. My rook.
Rook is hanging. Yeah.
Okay, so this is not possible.
Yeah, that's not possible. Knight a5 is well met by this c5. Sorry, c5. That was strong. And now if queen went back, yeah, collect this a4 pawn. Yeah, in some lines. Yeah, and a move like queen d3 was sort of.
Actually, okay, let's say c5 takes knight a5, c5. What is this exactly? Because it's kind of equalizing, but it's not a draw. It's not just a draw like
No, of course, because you keep. But where do you put the pieces right now?
This is my big question. Where white is putting.
Because queen d3, I'll take actually on a5. I realize that's the problem. I'm not. If I took here on b3, and this, of course, I'm not so happy. Yeah, slightly worse with
You're not
with black. I'm not happy with black here. No, I'm definitely not. I think. I mean, it's free roll for white, right? But I think rook a5 is a problem here.
And bishop e6.
But I just, just this. This must be very good for black, no? Or not very good for black, I think.
No,
2 pieces for rook and the pawn.
Yeah.
Should be kind of fine, I think.
Queen d4 is on the board.
Yeah, and bishop e6 will come. So we're checking something relevant, I think. I think bishop e6 will come.
So what about bishop e6, queen d3, let's say?
Yeah, this was a d5 line that this pawn sack that feels like very, very thematic, and the bishop installed on b4 feels like full compensation, no, for black.
Queen g3.
Let me think. I can try to get a tempo with takes and bishop b4.
So what?
Yeah, no, that's not yet.
Right.
Yeah,
bishop b4, rook d1.
D1. I could also try to go bishop b4, but I was not so sure if here if I can use the back rank somehow. I think maybe some queen g5. Try to
rook c8.
Use the momentum. Rook c8.
Queen f4 only move.
Yeah, I don't see how to use the back rank.
Yeah, I mean, white's pieces are pretty stable, right? Bishop on b3, knight on c.
But here it feels like black has some kind of activity, but I don't know if it's enough. Maybe queen g5. After all, on knight e3, bishop d2 maybe. Yeah, this is the riskier thing. Okay, also here I can bring the bishop to d7 as well. Don't know what that changes.
But is this the only way for black?
d5?
Yeah.
I think.
No, we look knight e4 also as an option.
Yeah, but not here. Here was rook e4, rook e6.
But
it was a different position.
Yes.
Different position. Here, this is not working.
Yeah. I keep asking the same.
Yeah, but it was working in one position, but not here. Knight d7 also may be possible. Yeah, your
but the a5 maybe is already.
Knight c5, right?
Yeah, knight d7 possible.
Yeah, bishop d4. Bishop d4. Maybe I will attack a5 with the queen.
Queen g5.
No, it definitely looks. I mean, as soon as I remove the attack from the pawn, it looks okay. Knight d7 also looks to me like a decent move. I don't know why not. Yeah, both look pretty good. Yeah, but let's see if Jan plays queen d3. I mean, we assume there's maybe. Can I go knight d2?
Knight d2 c5, I guess.
Queen here.
Well, rook b8. Or it just takes on e6.
Yeah, I'm kind of really happy with the trade. Like this one is weak, this knight is good, bishop is good, this bishop is very bad.
Okay, so this is the position exactly what black has to avoid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that would be dream. I mean, if I get to trade like for free these bishops, and then I get to come back for free, then I'm happy. Of course, we got rid of these bishops, which is the black's best piece.
So knight d2.
But maybe d5. Yeah, maybe d5 is an issue.
E takes d.
It's okay, no? Knight d5 or bishop d5, queen d5. Yeah, just everything is okay. This is guarded, everything's guarded. Rook e6, I have fe. Not pretty, but exchange. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Let me look at the player's body language. Look at the player's body language. Kind of lost my camera. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Do you think they are out of book by now?
To be honest, not really. No. I think they don't remember anything. Both. No, not anything. I think they have very vague recollection of things. But I think that they, in some kind of file, it's written down this position in a little bit further. I think so. Yeah.
So the teams are watching the game and checking their analysis.
Yeah, and the team is cursing like, okay, don't you remember anything? But the team is not yet cursing. They think that the guy is taking the time. But if they mix something up at some point, they will be definitely very upset. The reason I think they are still in book is because starting from rook e8, all the moves were kind of first choices of the computer. So knight f1, bishop 2, knight e3 is one of the first options. And here there are two huge directions that computer goes for, g4 or c4. So I guess this was still prep. After takes, knight c6 is the best move. Rook c1 is one of the top choices. a5 is the first line as well. Bishop c3, bishop c8, d4 is also first line. So it's all kind of the main line, you could say, of this rook e8 move. Besides g4, I think the main line is g4, but this is like the second main line after this. So I think they don't. Jan for sure doesn't recollect because it's one of the many lines he prepared against. But Magnus has vague recollections and just doesn't rush. Why to rush? They have a lot of time. Try to make sure you don't mix anything up. And yeah, I think they are kind of both. It's written down in the file. Let's put it this way. Pretty sure.
Years ago, how was your preparation started when you were a kid? Were you ever writing down something on a piece of paper in a paper booklet sheet that what is the best move and you're taking that with you to the tournament? Because I was the one back 30 years ago where I had my notes. It was about 15 kilos. I was carrying it as a handbag, obviously. So it was good physical training as well. And we were writing down only things which was the conclusions, right, in the openings. And then new time came when we had the computer, we had to type in all the notes entered into the database, and then you have like endless information.
Yeah, I mean, when I started, I got printouts from my coach. The very first coach, like I was really small, very, very small when I was just 7. So that's year 2001, I guess. There, my coach was writing down for me in the notebook. Yeah, some basic, like she wrote like Italian opening. So she wrote like 45, after bishop c4, bishop c5, and like one short line. And next page another opening. So I had that, but then I got Fritz 7.
One opening, one page.
Something like this, yeah. I got Fritz 7 very, very early on. So deep Fritz 7, and that was a pretty decent engine. But at first, my opening was my coach printing out the sheets. Like he was collecting games, the relevant games on my openings. And so with some notes, so I had these printouts of this, and we are looking through these games together with him. I think I started using computers very early, but they were full of mistakes. So I relied also a lot on books, on these Echo, this informant kind of books. I also relied on those actually at the time. Opening encyclopedias as well, but of course the engine was there kind of all along, although it shifted for me as well throughout even my relatively short career as well. So I saw a lot of changes for sure, but yeah, the carrying a lot of notebooks. I mean, I sort of experienced some notebooks, but not as a professional player yet, and you got the full experience there. For sure. So that changed a lot, yeah. But now, of course, I have to say that we have to keep in mind. So while this position is maybe written down for both players, in their head is not really there anymore, because there's so much stuff written down that actually you could say they are out of book. I mean, it's different. You have to like define what means book. Is the file of Racinet the book, or is what Magnus remembers the book? That's the question.
No, but I think once you have your notes and you're repeating them time to time, of course, it's always a question how much you're repeating it before the game, right? Still, you have it storage somewhere in your memory. So probably everybody has some different techniques and different things come back from their notebooks. But if once you've looked at it, and it's not only the concrete moves I'm talking about, I'm also talking about the position, the spirit of the position, what we have. Because I think it's also something that, it's one thing that he has, okay, bishop e6, and it goes knight a5, c5, this. But if he analyzed it a little bit back half a year ago, 1 year ago, and then he knows it, that the position is good, the position is completely fine, and maybe some things come back.
Yeah, well, to counter that, I mean, first of all, one issue is that it's not him maybe who looked at that, but it was Freycinet who really looked at that. I don't know why I always say Freycinet, it's just one of the many guys in the team, but it's someone in the team who looked at it in that great detail. Magnus just saw it like briefly, clicked through it. And of course, repeating, if you repeat before the game, you remember, but this is just one of the many lines, and it's impossible physically to repeat all your files before the game because there are so many that you just cannot. So you also have to eat before the game, you also have to rest, and to repeat like all your black repertoire before the game, you probably need, I don't know, 15 hours maybe, a full-time clicking through the notes with a speed that you can, you want to also to click like slowly, yeah, to repeat, to remember. So you're just not in time to repeat everything, I think. You cannot repeat all the repertoire, and this is one of the many lines, and I don't know how carefully they looked at it. And it's not at all the most dangerous one as well, yeah? So I'm not sure if it's so easy to remember everything.
It was also something interesting for me, and it was also difficult for me when I was still in competition, that at some point I felt that I just don't remember anything. I'm just going through on my notes, and 2 days later, you don't remember. And you feel crazy that you made your repeating your notes. Let's say you play with white against an end, and then you repeat all kind of Rai Lopez stuff, you with some Petrov and some Sicilian and all kind of things. And then 2 days later, you start it all over again if you have another opponent playing similar things.
Exactly.
Because the speed is so fast, the way we are doing, that somehow we are storing it in a short-term memory that, okay, from 1 hour from now, I will be able to recall it. But somehow I pick so much information that after that, it just goes out and you go, from game to game.
Yeah, exactly. And you are also one of the best players in the world. So you obviously have exceptional memory for chess already, just like other top players. And it's the same for everyone else. I mean, I know many of my colleagues and I've worked with many coaches who also work with many players. And that thing of not remembering, that comes back all the time. It's not a sign of bad memory. It's just too big. And like you said, I had the same thing. Like I was playing the other day, I was repeating the file for our game in the qualifying stage, and then I remembered everything, and then we played like 3 days later in the knockout stage, and I thought, okay, I already looked at it 3 days ago, why would I look at it again? And then he played something, and I still managed to mix things up, while I quickly realized I mixed it up, but still it was not in my short-term memory anymore. So even these 3 days made a difference. And then, okay, if you realize that 3 days is a problem, then, well, you have to repeat non-stop, and that's just not possible. So at some point you have to rely on other skills. You cannot just rely on memory alone. Not to say that your opponent can take you out of book, like for example yesterday Magnus took Jan out of book with 95 on move 8 already. So relying on memory is kind of going, is a race against time and stuff. Like it's just shouldn't do it. You're gonna lose all the time.
It's very strange. In one hand we say that we don't remember. In the other hand, there's non-stop work going on in order to make your notes bigger and better quality with better information. So it's kind of a very strange situation that you work. You have some seconds who are working, and then you're struggling to remember things. And I've heard this so many times. When even in a world championship match, the coaches are complaining that, oh my God, we were looking at this. What is he doing? Why is he not going the way we analyzed it?
Yeah, though I have to say, many of these coaches who are complaining, they have to look back at themselves and think like, well, did you look at your file? What was the size of the file? How, like, maybe you had to cut down here and there, make the file smaller and leave only the important stuff, because if you feed your pupil so much information, he is going to so you have to be also realistic. And it's easy to make a file where there is everything in it and then blame the guy for not remembering, but of course the job of the trainer has to be, and that's what Team Magnus is very conscious about, and I know about that because Peter Heine Nielsen talked about it a lot in interviews and always mentions that, of course, you have to tailor your preparation to your pupil. And ideally, that's very hard, but ideally you should play the openings where even if you don't remember, the position still suits you and you still find the best way. And that's what Magnus is constantly trying to do. So the positions he plays, here, it's all natural moves. Yeah. So he kind of, even if he doesn't remember, he will be able to sort of recollect that again. But looking at Jan, by the way, he looks like a man who is trying to remember his notes and can't. He doesn't have a thinking face. He has the I'm trying to remember face. And he definitely has all this stuff like this, you sit like this. You never sit like this with your head on your hands on the table like that, You never sit like this. Either you have a horrible position or you're trying to remember. And Jan is trying to remember, but he can't. I think he's trying to remember the move queen d3, but I'm not sure what he's trying to remember exactly. They are sort of in book, but already, game is lasting for 1.5 hours already. And, things are, or how long? 1.5 hour, yeah? Yeah, game is lasting for 1.5 hours, so it's kind of an interesting situation. Basically, they are practically on their own, and we'll see what Jan will come up with. The good thing for Jan is, I guess any move here, it's pretty safe for white. I don't think white, it's just, I think position is very, very equalish. If anything, white is on the good side. So I don't think Jan is risking anything. I think he will pick something and it will be a safe game for him.
Well, exactly. I think this is a very important sentence, what you just said, that it is very safe for white. And it's very difficult to here, right? At least for some moment. White has a healthy position.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to put pressure. I don't think it's hard to steer the game towards a draw or something. Even knight d2 d5, let's say. I think knight d2 d5. Okay, it's probably e d5, whatever. It's probably just equal. It's not like white is worse. But of course, he wants to put pressure. His white games are numbered, and when you are safe, you want to put the pressure. And he's trying to recollect something or come up with something, but it's not going to be easy. I do expect this game to never get out of balance too much.
What do you think? When can the players start to get nervous? Who will get more nervous first? Let's say if we see another. We are game 8 and it's 4-4. Who starts to get more nervous?
I don't think anybody is going to be too nervous. I think Jan will be happy. Clearly, also the approach so far he has shown is safety first. I mean, the line in the first game very safe. Today very safe with the black pieces. He went for this b5 system, which is like this. You know, you're trying by all means to neutralize the opponent. You don't try to go for anything funky. So I think with the approach Jan has, to be shocked with 4-4 after 8 games would be strange. And Magnus at the same time is too experienced facing that situation. He of course is mentally prepared for it now. He's been there twice. He's overcome that. So in some way, I think nobody will be shocked. Magnus maybe will be slightly he was maybe slightly hopeful before that Jan will have some kind of starting, some kind of nerves at the start. Maybe he was hopeful yesterday after 95 that he'll get something going. He'll be slightly disappointed he didn't get anything more. But Magnus is ready for it. I mean, every draw, I think Magnus is totally, he's not shocked, he's not surprised. And even entering the tiebreak is something he isn't going to panic about, neither Nepo. So in that sense, I think unless one of them loses, I don't think there will be any big emotional swings, but that's how I would see the situation.
Well, let's see if it's going to be equal by game 8 and what is going until then, who is going to be winning first in the World Championship match, 14 games.
Yeah, we'll see, but unlikely today. I have a there's a really hilarious GIF on Twitter of Magnus. It's really good. How am I going to share that? Would be really nice if the producer pulled it up. It's really good stuff. I'll send it in the chat.
Yeah, now it's a big question actually what White is going to be playing.
Yeah, and he is taking a lot of time. I think he's in between trying to recollect and slowly shifting to the mindset that he cannot recollect, and it's time to think on your own and make a move.
So you say that he's still trying to figure out what is in his notes.
Yeah, I think he abandoned that hope. I think he's just trying to think now on his own. I mean, after a while, you try to remember it, and you think like, okay, it's hopeless. let me just think what's the normal move here. Queen d3, kind of normal move. Wait, come on, it's just a broadcast.
So what were the options for White? We were talking about knight a5. We talked about queen d3. Is there any other option for White to play?
Yeah, knight d2 was a bit timid. Maybe some bishop move or something, bishop a to c2, I don't know.
Sorry, I want to ask e5.
Yeah, I was thinking e5. I want to mention this move as a move that just simplifies everything. You want to play it for advantage, yeah?
Well, let's say yes.
So actually, yeah, knight d5, maybe you take the pawn. So what about d e5?
I just thought that, what if I just take on d8 and rook e5 and just dreaming about capturing the a5 pawn?
Yeah, some negotiations about the GIF are happening, but let me think here. Yeah, of course, your structure is still a bit better, but I have a strong feeling that I need a precise move here to neutralize everything. How is knight d5, let's say, sacking a pawn temporarily?
d5. And if I take on a5?
With the bishop, I think, because
bishop,
otherwise...
bishop.
Yeah, bishop. Yeah, I was thinking maybe I have some rook eb8 or something like that. You're kind of hanging on, yeah, to your pawn for now. Bishop d1 maybe. Not sure yet if that was accurate. Knight d7, rook a5. Okay, let's not panic here. So you want to take on a5 with rook d5. Maybe rook d5.
Can't I? And if rook takes d5, you take with the bishop, right? Okay, rook d5.
You take?
Yes.
But now I had another 4 trick, I think. I don't know if it works. Pretty sure
Bishop there.
Knight f4, yeah.
4.
Should be enough for me to equalize somehow.
King f1.
Yeah, you take with the rook, yeah? Maybe I start with knight d3.
Rook c3. Knight c5.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm in trouble.
It should be, yeah. Oh, and even knight c5, maybe even black is well, yeah. Yeah, it's like very tricky now. Your pieces are hanging somehow. I was kind of afraid of some kind of sack, but not here, yeah? Some exchange sack, but it's just, you cannot take the pawn, so. Yeah, e5 definitely possible, because I thought first knight d5, but then I realized maybe bishop a5 is there. So then, yeah, if I have to take de, then white is, of course...
okay, and if after de I go rook e5 immediately without exchanging the queens?
But after queen d4, bishop d4, I'm kind of happy that your bishop has left maybe. Yeah, I can even play slowly with bishop b4, and I'm kind of happy to install this bishop there, I guess, for defensive purposes.
Yeah. So it seems like Jan is not so happy.
No, not happy from a point of view. Well, he has to pretend. I mean, the Sergei did the same. They have to play this game where they pretend that they're upset they got nothing with white, when all the prep was just to be super safe. But okay, fine. It's like it's a normal game. You have to keep your face, and they do try to play for a win, of course, but in a very safe manner. And they all know, of course, that trying to beat Magnus like empty-handed without taking any risks, it's pretty much mission impossible. But you still try, you still try, and you still hope, let's say.
If white goes knight d2.
Yeah, knight d2, we said d5, I think.
Immediately you went d5. And after takes, you went what? You did knight takes d5. Yeah, it's not so easy for white to move on in this position.
By the way, I should mention that so far in the 3 games, there is absolutely no sign of Jan being a fast player. Yeah, he, if anything, is on the slow side, and he's not at all playing quickly. There's no. There was a short phase yesterday where he played quickly for a couple moves, but there is none of that fast Jan that we've always known. Yeah, for years, that's completely gone. He's just a normal top player.
But I think he slowed down already in the candidates.
Yes,
not
but
so fast.
yes, but he still remained a bit on the fast side. And here it's like a totally regular time spendage, even towards the slow side more. So that is something to note.
It's move 20, right?
I mean, from my standard, like for standards of any person, it's okay. But like, I don't know if you recall, like there used to be games where he would finish with he would crush some players in like Dortmund. I remember he played Nicipiano, a strong German player, in Dortmund top tournament. And I think you start with like 1 hour 30, let's say, on the clock, and he finished with because you get increment as well in the end. Like he finished with more time than he started or something. And he has like 1 hour advantage on the clock. That was like a regular thing. He was always super fast, and that was like a trademark. And so far, there is none of that at all. There's a very regular time spendage of like 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there, no quick sequences anymore. So just a very, very solid, very different player than the player he used to be. Completely different player.
Yeah, I remember him playing in this tournament in 2011, exactly 10 years ago, when I played the European Championship in Aix-les-Bains in France. And he was together at that time already with his friend, and I think it was already then his coach, Potkin, Vladimir, and they were playing together. And I remember people saying, wow, Jan is such a talented boy, and he's going to be winning the European Championship, and so on and so forth. And then Vladimir won the European Championship. I was playing with him for the first place in the last round, but he was taking first prize. I was taking third in the European Championship. And so that was kind of a surprise for him, I guess.
Yeah, fun fact about Potkin. So he lives in Russia, right? And he lives in the same building as Evgeny Nair, a strong Russian grandmaster, and Alexander Motilov, another strong Russian. And so that building in Russia, it contains or accommodates 3 European champions. They're all 3 of those. They are all coaches of Russian national team. They are all, of course, good friends, colleagues. They even have some relations, that someone is married to somebody's. There is some relation there as well. I don't want to sort of mix anything up, so not to speculate, but they're even relatives in some way, but like they live in the same building and they're all European champions. It's kind of a remarkable coincidence slash fun fact.
Yeah. And it's interesting because that time I felt that Jan has other interests. He's not only focusing on chess. And then somehow I had a feeling when I met him in 2016, when he was visiting the World Championship match, and I think he was maybe helping also a little bit Karyakin, somehow probably it was very good for him to see closely a World Championship match running. And probably in his mind, he had this, he's playing the World Championship match. Look at the game. I could do better. This is the feeling I had. And then somehow it seems like his team grew, and he was started to be really focusing on the game, and other things were not taken.
Yeah. I mean, now to be honest, he plays this so far as like a neutral top player. You know, like there is just it would be kind of more fun. Maybe we'll see that later on in the match. Maybe as somebody wins the game, things get again a bit unbalanced. But as later on in the match, it would be nice if we get to see because people, of course, when they were speculating when Jan qualified, you know, back in the day, they were saying, you know, Jan is particularly unpleasant opponent because this, because that. And it would be nice if we get to see quick Jan, impulsive Jan, attacking Jan, you know, all this kind of stuff that people were expecting, let's say, or at least on paper. I never thought that was likely, but many people were saying that. And it would be fun if we get to see that, because so for now we see a very well prepared player, doesn't take any risks so far, doesn't put any pressure on the clock, you know, double checks, triple checks his moves. All the usual stuff that, you know, Fabiano is different, but let's say Wesley Saw, myself, many other top players play Grishuk, you know, who not play sort of in that kind of style, you know, very, very neutral, nothing too different or impulsive.
I think maybe the Jan will still be thinking a little bit. What do you think to see? No, H3.
Yeah, but it's nice. It's nice. H3 is a fine move. I was already considering bishop moves.
Look his face.
Jan?
He was like making some grimaces, and
yeah, I mean, okay, he reacted to himself thinking for 20 minutes or something.
Pouring coffee from the homemade.
29 minutes. He thought for half an hour. Okay, but it's nice. It's nice. It reminds me of Magnus. I had a couple of games with Magnus. He likes this. The favorite thing of Magnus, he has many good things, but favorite thing is to think for half an hour and then play, you know, King H1 or H3. He really likes that.
Like, you know, Magnus is also surprised.
Surprised, yeah.
Well, seeing his impression.
Per caso vi siete affacciati pure a...
Face.
Yeah, I suspect the d5 is like usually simplifying a sequence. But of course, at the end of simplification, you are a bit afraid to get slightly worse because the pawn is hanging. So not to lose the pawn somewhere, maybe some pressure along the c file. You have to kind of simplify carefully, not to simplify into something bad. But it's still tempting to go d5.
What about playing c5 first and only after that d5?
c5, of course, a lot riskier, but let's see. Queen.
By the way, after queen d3, knight e4 might be a move already.
But it's again the same thing or not? Or you want to
Yes, but after d5, rook e6, I'm thinking just to take it back and then c4.
I don't believe that. So let's say I take, you take.
Yeah.
Fe, yeah? Because of that bishop c2.
Let's say yes.
Now also bishop c2.
Ah.
So dangerous.
Rook d1. No.
Yeah, also just bishop c6, bishop e8. Just simple, yeah.
Okay,
this
so
not,
it doesn't never work, it seems.
Yeah, I think d5, knight d7 now is a bit strange with queen not being on d3. I think Jan is sort of inviting d5. He wants to take, and then he wants, this safe position. Maybe small plus somewhere. How do you recap? But you take with the knight, yeah?
Well, probably I have no other option. Bishop f6, rook e1 takes, g takes f6.
Yeah, it's too little, yeah, knight e5. Or rook a5 is there simply. No, I cannot do it. I have to take rook e8. Knight e8, knight a5, you take on b3 and take on a4, and it's just not.
Maybe knight b6, is that endgame can be better?
Oh, knight b6 is a nice one, yeah. Yeah, of course, it's of course nice, yeah. I mean, probably not much, because I also,
yeah,
but it's better than nothing. Better than nothing. Yeah, also bishop c5, maybe bishop a5 is a small issue. Hard to get fully stable. You have to take, and okay, this outside pawn could get tricky.
Yeah, that can get very tricky. 4 takes knight e4.
Oh yes. That's exactly.
And then d5.
Yeah, what I do. Yeah, maybe c6. Yeah, to just maintain for a little bit more tension.
What about e5? You know, I have another completely different idea for black. Can black go knight h5? Look for some activity with knight.
Yeah, that's actually quite nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe you just take a pawn. I don't know.
But I remember that from our game when I played with you as a kid a long time ago, that I found it incredible how in a position where king safety was not at all a factor, how you managed to create an attack. Like it was not at all like about the attack at the start, but somehow, and here again, yeah, knight h5 is the kind of move that it can really quickly get quite double-edged. That's a nice skill to have.
No, because after h3 it can be something very difficult for white, right? If knight h5, knight f4.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I have to bite the bullet, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a bullet, though. Can I go bishop h3? I mean, just...
Yeah, I was thinking also, about this.
I doubted that this
I also strongly doubt
d5,
that,
I think. Right, so this is absolutely not possible.
Yeah.
And okay, takes and queen g5, or
quite little resources. Yeah, bishop d2 or something. If I need to protect from knight f4, too little resources probably.
Yeah,
no, probably it doesn't quite work.
And what about rook a5?
Yeah, rook a5. Let's.
And rook g5.
I have bishop g4. Yeah, to just interpose there, block everything, and up pawn. So.
Yeah.
Looks safe enough. Yeah, maybe here I'm kind of fortunate that there's knight a5.
And after knight h5, knight a5, c5, queen d2.
Maybe even d1, or maybe d2. No, d2 you will take on a4 maybe on d1.
And now knight f4.
But I have some. Okay, let's take first here.
Rook takes.
Here.
Queen g5.
I'm thinking about g3, knight h3, king g2.
I think h4 you have.
G4, queen h4, g3, knight h3, king g2 as well. The same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this was yeah, this is unlikely probably, yeah. Probably unlikely. Probably it's d5 or c6 that is the main choice.
Can black go rook b8?
I move the bishop maybe to a2 just.
Well, I don't know. It's
now this pawn is abandoned completely, yeah? So I'm going to pick it up. No, you'll do now knight h5, of course, yeah?
I go queen d7.
Actually, knight h5 also really bothered me right now. You get much better version compared to before. Queen d7 as well. I was thinking now to keep the bishop elsewhere, to have knight a5. Maybe on c2 or even d1. Let's say c2. According to Erwin Lamy, it's all about the d6 d5 break right now. It says if Jan can't successfully prevent it, but the game may peter out fast. But of course, yeah, Jan and Magnus, they're thinking that maybe d5 trade, maybe white keeps small plus, small plus.
Yeah, of course, black is playing with fire after rook b8 if I can defend my pawn on a5 or not.
Yeah, I mean, here you have to have a follow-up because you have abandoned this pawn fully. Yeah, this is the kind of risky business that is...
Okay, so if we go back, not rook b8, what is the crucial situation? If black plays the best way, what do we think? d5, right?
Well, I mean, don't yet have a response against c6 and d5 next move. Yeah, I don't see the problem. And then d5. I don't see what useful move white has here. Next, I can push d5 and have all the same things with the pawn a bit better protected. So I'm currently doubting between c6 and d5.
Yes, because now queen d2 is not possible to bishop c4 and knight takes c4. Right?
Bishop to where was
queen d2 is not possible.
Queen d2, yeah, that was what you mentioned. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, this is the important stuff.
That's exactly what you mentioned. Yeah, that knight. Why not to d3? Why didn't we play to d3 then?
No, I just wanted to attack on a5.
Yeah, that was the point. Yeah, now you don't have a threat.
Okay.
Also, so knight d7 you have to kind of deal with maybe. Magnus is the kind of guy, normally speaking, don't know about the World Championship match, but normally, if given a choice of c6 and d5, he chooses always c6. He always, if there are two ways to equalize, he chooses the one that maintains the tension. That's the kind of habit he develops to beat his fellow top players every now and then. Because if you simplify with d5, you just make draw, yeah? At best.
Yeah, he simply likes to keep tension, right?
Yes,
and he wants to keep
and
the option for the opponent to make a choice and decision which may be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And by now it's like a habit. But of course, sometimes he is in the vacuum cleaner modus where he just tries to trade everything and make a draw when he's like in a must draw or something. And he does this vacuum cleaner stuff very well too. So we will see now in what mode he is in. If he just wants to get rid of all the pieces and make a draw with d5, or if he of course still doesn't play for a win or something, but it's like it's how it starts always. You keep the tension once, you keep it twice, and then the opponent gets low on time, tries too desperately to make a draw with a move like e5 or something, and then okay, maybe sometimes you get some small plus, and sometimes you one out of 10 games you win. And so yeah, we'll see. Like normally c6 is his move, but maybe d5 is more in the spirit of his play so far.
Still hesitating, right? Of course, he has a 15-minute.
Yeah, he has a nice cushion there.
17 minutes. It's not that the time will take a serious or big role in this game.
Well, most likely, of course, as commentators or as people who follow the World Championship match, we always think of that unlikely scenario that something will happen in a position like that. And let's say there is a scenario which is very, very unlikely, in which Magnus will play c6 and Jan will again take a long thing, and at some point get a bit too impatient, try to simplify in a slightly weird way, and maybe somehow Magnus gets some kind of something, some chances, I don't know. But of course, yeah, most likely time will play no role, as the position is very, very simple and very fine for black, and basically nothing will happen.
But I'm not sure.
Most likely.
I'm not sure actually that c6 is not a better move than d5.
I think is that yeah. I mean, to be honest, d5, d queen d5. I think like white is maybe on the slightly good side of a draw.
What would you play? What would be your decision?
To be honest, I think I'll play c6 because against the player who I'm comfortable against, I would think, okay, maybe I keep the tension, and against the player who I'm not confident against, I would think that after d5, d queen d5, maybe I'll get slightly worse. So why do I need it? You know? So maybe I'll play c6 in either case, just to be sort of, because why not actually?
I would go for c6, but I don't.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, d5 is the move you play if you are sure it's fine. And if you kind of are a bit impatient towards a draw, like you really want the draw, you really want it now, and you just don't want to prolong, you just want to go for rest day. You just want to get it over with. It is kind of, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of the idea of the position to go d5 and simplify. It's just after h3, you can afford the luxury of one more waiting move. So it's kind of an extra option he has. Like d5 is not, there's no sin in going d5. That's the main idea. Like after queen d3, also d5 is simplifying. It's kind of a normal way to go. But we'll see. Maybe Jan took too long a thing, and maybe Magnus will. Okay, smell blood is too much, but maybe Magnus will find the confidence in himself to keep the tension a little bit.
Well, right now, for our newcomers who are watching us, we can say that 2 hours passed almost from the start of the game. This is game 3 of the World Championship match between Magnus Carlsen and the challenger Jan Nepomniachtchi, who's from Russia. And it is very tight so far. We have 2 draws up to this point in the World Championship match, with very interesting games happening previously. If you haven't seen it, yesterday's game was extremely interesting, with a lot of interesting happenings over there, but it was a draw, so the match is 1-1. Today it was a question who is going to be deviating in the opening compared to game 1, and it's the same opening as the Rai Lopez, and in move 8, Nepomniachtchi played first a different move, and he went a4 in the opening phase of the game. They played pretty fast, both of them. And then we have a position, we reached out a position right now, which at first sight, I think, we could say that white has a clear advantage because black has a weakness on a5 and black is going to be losing that pawn. But actually, everything becomes very concrete in chess. And in this position again, the last move was by white, what was it? h3 is the last move, which was kind of a little bit unexpected because there were some concrete lines we were looking. And now it's Magnus's decision which way to steer the game. Is he going to be playing d5, trying to simplify and simply say, okay, I may be a little bit worse, but it's just a drawish game. I'm going to go for that and have 1.5 on the score sheet. I suffer a little maybe, but That's no problem. It's just going for the draw and have 1.5, going into the free day. Or he still says, I want to play c6, keeping the tension in the game. And let's see how it develops. And then whatever happens, happens. So I hope for c6. And we have d5 on the
c6,
board.
c6. No, we have c6 on the board. c6.
c6, good.
Yeah, that's the Magnus. That's the normal Magnus. That's the Magnus that plays the tournaments. That's the Magnus that I play, who plays c6 always, and 10 out of 10 times. But I just thought maybe in the match suddenly he gets some second thoughts. He goes for d5. Yeah, that's whenever given a choice, and that's one of the few things. And that's not the only thing, but that's one of the few things that separates him from the other top players. Is that when he has equalized with black, when he has a choice to start the vacuum cleaner mode or keep the tension, he keeps the tension, and that in the long run gives him slightly better EV than just 50%. So that's a decision that I'm not surprised to see, and I'm kind of happy to see from him. Good to see that. And I think one reason he feels comfortable is that Jan took 30 minutes on h3. And also Magnus was in book, he knew that h3 is not a top choice by the computer. And he thought, okay, maybe I can even afford to play c6. I don't see here maybe bishop c2 or queen d3 or some other neutral move, but I don't see like a punch from white. So yeah, it's a good choice. Now Jan will again think for a while.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Also, yesterday there was one moment, if someone saw the game, we were commentating here when black played bishop a8, this famous move, bishop a8. In that crucial moment when it was the momentum probably for black to really take the advantage and catch the opportunity. And here a little bit, I feel the same, that he went h3. It's like playing solid. Maybe I'm wrong, but well, it's not that we saw something very clear advantage for white. But
no, really not. Yeah. That was the thing. Also, he probably also didn't. They didn't really see which move to make. Yeah.
But still, somehow h3 seemed to be, well, it's a quiet move, which we will see how it develops, right, after c6. Because after c6, what white has as options? Because black wants to develop, and if black can control and defend the a5 pawn, and though I don't know what is the next move of black. Is he planning to play d5 in the next move?
Yeah, possibly. I think possibly plus play d5. And I should say now again, I'm actually not sure if c6 was played with intention of like playing for win. He might have thought that d5 might have been right. d5, d queen d5 is just sort of on the bad side of equality. So why bother? Why not play c6? And it doesn't mean he's ambitious or something like that. That doesn't mean he's ambitious yet, but it just means that maybe he finds it to be a better move, which is also what I thought actually. Now, yeah, white, I think again all the same moves, bishop c2, queen d3. I don't know what else to suggest. Maybe e5 once again is possible. If Jan wanted to make a draw here, by the way, I think he could play e5, takes on d8, rook d8, knight a5, bishop b3, knight b3. Isn't this just a total? Like this would be a kind of a...
Yes, but of course you don't want to do that. I mean, you're the challenger. You're playing with the white pieces. This is not the way to the path to win.
Exactly, and what I'm saying is that Jan is not at all worried about his position. If he was worried, he would have done that. So he kind of still plays a bit for advantage. Bishop c2 back, played quite quickly. That's good. No need to...
Very quickly.
Yeah, and now d5 is definitely called for. What else? Yeah, what else to play? I'm not sure if there is a move.
Well, d5 is a very logical
d5. Yeah, e5. White has a choice, to go if ed, e5, or knight back is probably c5. So have to choose ed or e5.
It seems like white has to take on.
Why not e5? E5 also possible, yeah. Possibility.
E5, but why is it so good? D takes.
And now take.
And why is it so nice for white?
I'm not so sure, but maybe your c pawns are weaker than my f pawns.
You mean after gf6, bishop f6, and rook e3?
Yeah, but not necessarily rook e3. Just maybe your pawns are sort of doubled. Maybe I'm like 3 against 2. Maybe small.
Okay,
I mean,
rook d7. Let's see, because I'm afraid of rook e3, g3
as well. Yeah, of course. I mean, but
so I have bishop d6.
Why? There's no need to go gf. Maybe maybe you could leave my pawn on f6. Maybe. Yeah, maybe you could play knight move. Just more ambitious.
Okay, but after that you go knight d6.
Yes.
Or knight d6.
Yeah. So why is white not better than actually here? Maybe white's a bit better here. Would be kind of funny if c6 is inaccurate because the bishop c2, d5, e5. Maybe c6 was not inaccurate actually. Not sure. Don't see. I mean, this position doesn't look. Maybe g6.
But what about playing? Well, after bishop b4, white is slightly better, right?
Fg takes. Takes.
I'm not sure.
Well, much it can never be, right? You're very simplified position. Bishop's kind of nice.
Yeah, you have two beautiful bishops there.
Yeah, it's very dangerous for black, of course. Once you give up the dark square bishop, things can really spin out of control
it
here.
Seems dangerous. Okay, so let's see c5. I like what you played after e5.
I'm not sure it worked. I was kind of wondering.
Queen d2?
D2 even. Yeah, even queen d2. Even d2.
So after queen d2, d4 maybe.
I mean, d3 kind of very principled because I keep force 94, yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
One thing is to sack, which could be also.
Why is it a big deal? Takes, queen e4, g6.
Yeah, I think I have compensation though, but maybe it's not the best. What about, can I play f3 or there is some problem?
Oh.
Wait, knight d2 may be more elegant. Then c4 is there. Knight takes c4.
c4.
Knight takes c4. Bishops. Knight e3. What about knight d2? Also knight d6, c4, knight c4 also. Okay, knight d2, let's say. What about knight d2?
Bishop f5?
Yeah, this bishop f5. Okay, it's still, maybe I'm better queen f3 or something. Maybe I'm much better, by the way, if it works.
Yeah, now queen f3 is very powerful.
Yeah, just winning maybe, yeah. Very dubious for black, right? I think this endgame is the way to go, to be honest. I mean, this is all very dangerous. Probably this endgame is the way to go. Bishop b4.
But it seems like white is slightly better.
Yeah. It looks like this way, of course, yeah. No, maybe he should have gone d5 right away, actually. We'll see.
So let's see after bishop c2 if there is anything black can do.
He's thinking, but what move to make? I mean, I don't see what move is useful at this point.
So what if black goes queen c7?
Yeah, this is the only move.
And I want to go knight d7.
Queen d3, I thought, is a huge issue. e5 is coming. This looks horrible.
So after knight d7, you go
e5, just crush, yeah. h7 also, it's just finish. It just looks like really bad.
Okay, this is not a good option.
I mean, I don't see any move. Like knight d7 is knight d6. Knight h5, maybe. Maybe knight h5, but rook cd1 or something. Maybe c5, queen d3. No, looks very suspicious. Knight h5, maybe e5 just. Yeah, e5, because if d5, it's a transform.
Black species looks like falling apart a bit.
No, I think it's time to go for this endgame just and accept that c6 was not a winning attempt and try to hold this endgame. G5, G6 looks
Ma che cos'è? Un enzo finollo, cos'è?
Also G6, there is bishop takes G6.
But hold on. What did you do on GF6? You said you didn't like it.
I don't dislike it. I think it's similar to bishop before. I think it's kind of similar. I don't dislike it. But I think it's a worse version, yeah, maybe of bishop before, because I get to keep the bishop. And there were some things you mentioned.
Rook d2, rook d2.
I can kick you on bishop before.
And bishop b4.
Yeah. It's kind of slightly pretty for white, this position, but it should be, of course, a draw. But it is pretty though.
Rook c8.
Could be, yeah, it could be nasty, no? Such position. Bishop e4, let's see.
c5. Bishop c6.
Oh, maybe h4. Stop bishop g5.
Sofia.
But you have
very
rook
smart.
You have rook d4 and c3.
Rook d4 and c3.
Yeah, but such endgame, I was thinking, it could even be sometimes such position like this. Yeah, d5 of course on the board, e5 or ed. Yeah. What about ed? I was also not.
To tell you the truth, I wouldn't be surprised that e5 if e5 would have been blundered by.
Yeah, that's why he spent so much time on d5, I think as well. I think he blundered e5, but it could be still okay. Maybe early to panic. What about ed? I don't yet see how to meet ed. Also looks nice for white.
I have another question also. If after e5, can black go knight g4, or does it make any sense to go knight g4?
But why? Let's say 90, like, okay, let's say even 96.
And I would have to take and go back knight f6, yeah?
Yeah, which is much worse version of this kind of position, yeah? Where you can choose what to do with the knight. On knight g4 also, this kind of things look pretty
okay, so
juicy.
after e5, it seems that dc4 kind of must.
Looks like the other things are too risky, yeah? Allowing 96 could really backfire. So I think, yeah, maybe dc is a must. But ed5, also something to think about. I think Jan is thinking. I think they both look tempting.
So what about knight d5?
I really like my bishop now on c2 because I have some queen d3 ideas. Then g6, yeah. Yeah, actually just knight d5, queen d3, g6.
Yeah.
No, I think ed knight d5 looks okay. I think e5 is the
actually probably if black can eliminate any of white bishop, then he's going to be okay.
Trade the bishop, you mean here?
No, I mean after e takes d5, knight d5, or in that structure.
If black gets to trade the bishop, yeah? One of the bishops.
Yeah, somehow to get one of the bishop to trade, yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah, because otherwise the combined power of the bishops looks a bit scary. But I guess, yeah, they're kind of neutralized. I don't imagine there is any... I don't see any follow-up, to be honest. Everything is nicely protected if something bishop g7 is there. Bishop is currently hanging. No, I think it's e5, dc, and I'm curious about this endgame. To generate any play, you need to trade this bishop. And here, maybe rook d2, yeah? Or something like that.
But it's kind of annoying that black takes on c3, you know? Somehow it would be nice to keep his bishop and keep the tension.
But I'm protecting this pawn, yeah, with this bishop. And I don't, but like, what is how can this tension ever be resolved in another way, yeah? I will always keep my bishop.
Let's say I would ask you if we just play with the idea that I want to see what is the position without the rooks. Like, let's say rook d7, rook d1, rook d8.
White must be thrilled, yeah, to trade rooks.
Rook d1 takes on c3, takes on g7. What is this?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, this is, of course.
Because I think this is a very big question.
Yeah, well, I have to say though, this pawn is on the light square, so I would think that.
And the good thing is for black that he goes c5, so white king cannot penetrate through d4.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing, and I would think that. Maybe not. And of course, white is of course on the
you put your bishop
pressing
to
side.
c6.
But the good thing for black is that white's bishop has no freedom of maneuver, so he cannot fight for the e4 square because of this pawn hanging. So I would suspect that this kind of stuff, it sort of holds for black. It's of course not fun, but it's probably holding for black, this position. somehow. It's not fun though at all, but it's.
Leave it there.
I don't think
Just
you
leave
want
it
to.
there?
Yeah, but you even now have struggling with the move now a little bit. Yeah, what move black plays? It's kind of half suk's fun.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we take H.
Bishop e8, king e4. Oh no, king e4, bishop c6. Oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay. King is stuck. Maybe take here.
Takes and done. Bishop g6 and bishop
f7. Just a fortress, yeah, or? Yeah, but I think that's not a question black wants to find out the answer to. I don't think
e5 is on the board.
Yeah, nice. No, e5 is clearly the move. Yeah. e9, d5 will totally fine.
Jan is playing very powerful.
Yeah, maybe c6 was a bit soft. Maybe d5 was actually the way to go. I mean, I missed, of course, everything. I missed bishop c2, d5, e5 also. Like I just said c6 because I thought, okay, what move is gonna make? And I wonder now why. So this was not possible right away. It's also a question, yeah. Then. Oh, of course not. No, there was no knight d6. It's completely different.
d6. d4 is already on the board.
Yeah, because knight d6 was not a thing. So it became a thing only when you played c6. Okay,
and it's easy to blunder actually. This way, it's very easy to blunder when you're calculating continuously d5.
Yeah, exactly.
You play c6 first, then d5, and e5.
But to be fair, let's not panic. First of all, without rooks, it was a draw, most likely. Secondly, I don't think black will ever trade the other rook, because in a position like this,
you can easily just go back on the fast to b8 and
but I'm worried now because I thought if I'm coming actually here, I will get smoked out. Yeah, so maybe not here. Maybe I go here. I win a tempo already. And now I need to do some magic with the bishop. I don't see what move I have with bishop.
There's no magic.
There's no magic at all. Tempos don't matter. Yeah, but then if you don't do magic, then I will trade the rook. I'll bring the rook here. I'll bring this king here. And the question will actually be very relevant. What happens if you trade rooks? Maybe some magic, yeah. I'm sure no magic. I can keep the rook on d5. Let's say here. Some kind of thing like that, you know? Keep the rook here, want bishop f5. And I can just not take. Yeah, I can just keep the rook here. Let's say something like.
Yes, that's a.
You have to deal with the pawn endgame if you don't want to know also what's going on here, maybe. But maybe it's a good pawn endgame. Let's see what will happen. Magnus is very good. Magnus is very good in endgames, they say, so he will show us how to equalize this.
And he's going to be tested.
I'm not happy with this. I would think that black is not enjoying this, but let's see. Looks very depressing. To be honest, looking back, c6 is simply a big inaccuracy, I think. Just d5 was the way to go. So kind of funny how we switched the hindsight. We just followed the hindsight logic.
Bishop b4 on the board.
Yeah, okay, fg is the must, of course, on the board as well. Takes, and now
but you know what? Maybe he thinks it's just nothing special for white. King g7.
But I will do this. No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, for like I think I will do. Okay, king f1 first. I will trade the rooks.
King f6.
Bishop f5. Yeah, I'm a bit concerned.
Yes,
you will do.
Yes.
Maybe g4. We have to deal with counterplay. Yeah, bishop to f5. Without wasting any time.
I just have to play very actively.
Let me think here. Rook e5, rook d5.
Well, I thought maybe even rook b8, rook b3 at some point, but that's for later stage.
Rook b8, rook b3. Okay, maybe if circumstances allow, yeah.
Yeah, if my king
is bishop already on f5, let's say, yeah.
Then or king on f6, and maybe white king just stands on f1. maybe there is situation when it can happen. Let's say king f6.
To be honest, I kind of like not to waste time with this rook d2, rook d8 thing, but just to take immediately here. I kind of like it now.
Yes.
Because I anyway want to trade rooks. And if I do that, by the way, what if I do that?
Rook d1, rook b8. Rook d1, rook d8.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is that you have bishop f5 already. And you're kind of happy to trade because you get the square.
Yes.
Yeah, king f6, bishop f5 looks like a human plan to me. Yeah.
You have to be very active with black.
Now, I can try with white to prevent that, of course, like some kind of
f4, g4.
Also, some...
Of course, after f4, rook d2 is already another story.
F4 feels very wrong. It's horrible. F4 is a horrible idea by me. Yeah, no, I don't go F4. I can guard a second rank. I don't know what for.
No, it's still, well, yeah. But also G4 is tricky.
Magnus will take now, I guess, king G7. Yeah, this is the...
Yeah, we are heading to that.
It's then up to Jan to show the magic. So, yeah, he took king F1, king F6 is likely. And here I have to think something smart. Okay, what if I play rook ED1? What would you do?
Let's say bishop F5.
Yeah, and I just trade, and I bring the king. Still, maybe you have small issues.
I'm gonna go, you will not believe what I'm gonna do.
Rook d5 first.
Maybe it's not so good. King e4.
But usually I should be able to push you back. But you want king f4, king g3, yeah? To annoy me there.
Yeah, somehow I think. Well, maybe it's, yeah, maybe you go f3.
I'm thinking f3, king f5, king f2. And if rook d3, I will kick you back and take it.
And take it, yes.
And if rook b8, I will push you back and bring the king to e3. Yeah, it looks slightly better for me. It looks slightly better for white. I like this.
Okay, so you go rook d1, rook d5.
Bishop e4, no? I ask. This is kind of unpleasant, maybe, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice endgame for white.
Yeah, I think Magnus also would be more happy from the other side.
And Jan, I think he has a dream scenario. He gets to press for free, and he gets to press also. Like it's not like it petered into a draw, yeah. Like he has a better pawn structure, so he gets to sort of feel good, yeah. Because if you show nothing with white and it's just a draw, it also feels a bit stupid. So Jan kind of enjoying himself, that's for sure.
Okay, so rook d5, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, rook d5 was not the move.
Let's say I go king e5.
How about h5?
H5, nice. I also thought just
I like
now.
h5, maybe h4.
Yeah, h5, because after h4, bishop g4, I think.
Also, in general, this, yeah, I'm not sure if this inclusion is... Bishop g4 to f3, not sure if... Yeah, I don't know if provoking f3 makes a difference. Or maybe it does, yeah? King e2, king f4.
Well, now I think king e2, rook d5.
King f1, by the way, played. Currently, we have this position on the board. I would actually just let Magnus show it.
Well, he can go h5 immediately. He can go king f6. King f6 looks very logical.
King f6, I mean, definitely not a bad move, yeah? King f6 is the... I think you play king f6 and you think later, yeah? No. Like you bring the king to the center, you get bishop f5 idea as an option. King f6 is a good move to start. The question is after rook d1. Sorry, the question I think is here, what move to make. Because bishop f5 is a very big decision, and it could, on one hand, you're happy to trade bishops. On the other hand, of course, the c-pawn now can be attacked at some point. Already here, okay, this is not good yet, probably, but already here it is attacked. Now the king is too active. Although, is it, by the way? This is better for white, no, also.
It is.
I don't see. Yeah, I kind of assume the king is, but the problem with the king is that I have still, I still have this, and then this also falls, and.
Yeah. Okay, but this is very tricky.
Yeah, you cannot play bishop f5 simply. It's not at all possible. Possible move.
No, I think it should be not a big problem for black, because the c4 pawn, after all, is actually black can go. You know what he can go? Maybe he can go c5 earlier than we think.
Here, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking also that c5 doesn't look so bad.
And just the exchange one rook, and the other rook you're going away.
But wait, I will do that. I will
take.
do this. Now you have a small issue on the b5 square. Yeah, I will bring the king to e1. Although I'm not sure. Yeah, this king e1. You will try also, of course, to go rook e8. Yeah. But I will hide on c1. And then I will enter here. But you will come now, switch to here. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but rook b5 is there.
But
I thought h5 also was
bishop
possible.
e4, also even g3, and then rook b5. Yeah, looks nice for white. I mean, c5, I don't know. c5 also loses a move, a tempo. Maybe h5. We said h4. Yeah, and now some other move. Some king e5 or something. I don't know if it's a useful move, but maybe king e5, let's say, just to centralize the
I'm
king.
not sure the
h5?
pawn, pawn on h5 will not be weak.
Yeah, I once had a game with Ivanchuk. I had light square bishop, and he went h5. Then I went h4, and suddenly it was just an extra weakness in the bishop endgame.
What do you think about the very strange move I will make? King g5.
Kind of trying to, yeah.
And I'm going to go h5, h4 next.
Yeah, okay, I'll try to do the same. Take, take, take. I like this maneuver. And then I will cover the d2 square and enjoy the b file.
But I'm not sure that here already, if I just exchange the rooks and I go h5, h4 is not a dead draw.
Yeah, we'll see. Kind of a pleasant question for white to contemplate, yeah? I don't know. But maybe, yeah, actually you get to even you consider, yeah, you get to sort of block quite a lot of squares. I don't know.
It's tricky.
A bit tricky. Maybe it's okay still, but it's a little bit tricky. I mean, it's a question. It looks tricky, actually. I don't know. 4, bishop g4.
You may even go f5.
Oh, and king d5 maybe, yeah? Yes, to be calculated what's happening. Okay, this can also, yeah, to be calculated. I will take this. Yeah, difficult decision for Magnus. Different approaches possible. Can try to play it passive, try to do something, try to trade bishops or not.
Yeah, there are a lot of details in these positions, right? That it should be roughly okay for black, but you have to be very precise.
Ah no, aspetta, vabbè, voi a che ora andate via?
Trying to see if Twitter has already solved this position. According to Vichy, it's equal but not dead. Okay, so that's there. That's that. Rook b8, okay.
B8.
I thought rook b1. I was not too impressed with this move.
Okay, so rook b1, he goes king f6 then.
King f6. Yeah, then I want to do this thing, yeah, where I take and play rook b1.
Yeah. King f6 is on the board.
Ah, rook b1 also played. Oh, nice. It actually all happened. Yeah, but this position is quite simple, yeah? Like it's a very, there are very few things going on. The pawn structure is completely fixed. So it's very easy to calculate it, basically. So it's not a surprise that they play very fast because you can just sort of, it's very little to think about. At first, at least.
Well, now the question is whether he's going to take capture on v8 and wants to exchange the rooks on b1, or he's going to be playing something else.
I find this very tempting to do, yeah. Because I'm not sure what's useful move to make. King e2 or? Well, you know, the very big question is honestly, if you don't want to suffer, what is this? What is this? Yeah, because okay, you also have active king, maybe king e5, f5, f4, maybe similar to what you did, but
maybe black should go king e5 and f5. And
after trading the bishops, right?
Now, what you have? Takes on b1.
Yeah, after trading the rooks. I mean, after trading the rooks. Yeah. Take king e5.
King e5.
Yeah.
King e2 or h4, whatever. f5.
f5, f4. Yeah. It's a better version of the h5, h4 idea you had. I think it looks.
And it
like
seems
fortress.
like maybe
c5, bishop
maybe
d7, and that's it.
To block. And bishop on d5.
Yeah, if I get c5 or bishop on d7 to keep an eye on the pawn. Because I'm not in time to do this. Yeah, Jan is going for it, but actually this endgame is just a draw, I think. I don't see it. f5, g3, f4, a move, bishop d5, yeah, like you said, bishop d5,
check
or
on
even
g4. Check on g4.
Yes, I can check on g4, f3, and go back. If g4, I go back.
Yeah, then it's just completely.
It's dead. It's just dead without even attacking the pawn. It's just a fortress. Yeah, but he asks Magnus the question, but now Magnus should just actually get it over with. Take and king e5. And you should, because otherwise you can suffer, yeah? Yeah, Magnus will do it. You don't want to suffer. You just, he will take his time.
That's a good idea to take away every opportunity from white. Centralize the queen.
So quick. Even just, yeah, it's showing confidence in his understanding of it. So quick. Yeah, rightly so. Just take king e5. Jan also saw it.
But Magnus has full confidence. You can see that he knows that it's a draw.
He spent some time thinking, do you think there's no way he prepared this, right? Because it was kind of forced.
And king e5 is on the board, or no? Yes.
Okay, h3 kind of took him out of book, I assume. There's no way he could have prepared this, yeah? That kind of was very smooth, though, how it happened. Yeah, probably it was over the board. But yeah, no, very smooth, very smooth. Not fearing any ghosts, just even very fast, yeah. No, because this endgame, even with pawn on f6, where if you imagine that you allow this, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is also a draw, of course. And bishop here. But it's kind of draw with a margin. Yeah, but
exactly. To allow space for white.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. But I think the reason he went for it so easily is because he thought he realizes there is a margin, even if like there's just a big margin, nothing to worry about. And f5, f4 comes, it's just a draw on the spot. Did I remember I predicted 3 hours today? So how many hours it is it?
Yes. I wanted to remind you too that you know something.
I have a very good feel for how long my workday is going to be. Very good feel for that. I've already scheduled something at 4:30, my next appointment.
So tell me about it. How is it to play as a father? How much it became more difficult, your preparation, your competitiveness?
Yeah, it's, I think at first, especially, you have to restructure a few things. As you probably know yourself.
Actually, very fast move.
Yeah. Just it will just be a 5f4 thing and just a fortress. But yeah, as soon as you get sort of the new routine in place, you know, always when something, you know, something big happens like that, I guess you are like, you had things in place and then like there's a big shakeup, and as soon as things quiet down again, you have your new routine and everything is quite smooth. But of course, yeah, it's very nice today for the players that it's short day. They get to rest before the rest day, and next game is going to be a lot of fun.
What do you think about Jan's face expression? It seems like he's very unhappy.
He will pretend, of course. He's very unhappy that another white was wasted. Very unhappy. This is not what you want when you have white pieces in the World Championship match, he will say. Yeah, very upset, very upset. But okay. He almost cries. There's almost tears. It's like my son, you know, when he's I mean, I recognize these tears, these fake tears from a mile away.
But now he starts smiling.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, Magnus, you got so lucky that it's no, it's just. I mean, I do think Jan actually got is disappointed. I do think he missed from afar, which is also what I missed. That he doesn't even get to press here because of King E5, F5, F4. I think he is actually disappointed about that.
But it's incredible how Magnus feels these things. No, I mean, we were like,
yeah,
I mean,
he's very fast. Yeah,
I was struggling here. Okay, do this, do that, do whatever. And he's just like, probably in a fraction of a second says, okay, King E5, F5, F4, nothing.
Yeah, he's very fast. That's why people don't usually press against him very long, because he also does it very quickly. So you don't even get to feel that you make him suffer. He's very fast. That's why I was saying that if you end up in a position when you are in a must win against Magnus, it's very hard, because he's actually very good at being solid, and he's like super fast at defense. He sees these fortress ideas without any ghosts. Yeah, he's just a good defender.
Is he gonna play C5 in this position?
I think sort of the intrigue is mostly gone, yeah. Jan is just shuffling. Yeah, he can play C5, he can play bishop D5, he can keep the bishop on E6, D7. I think just C5, bishop C2, and just repetition of... Jan can even play F3, King F2, and just repeat the, just the fortress.
Well, F3 is...
I had the vision, if, let's say, you play very badly, yeah, with white, just for fun, yeah, you can just like, I don't know, some hypothetical scenario.
Please don't try to lose.
No, exactly. Is it not lost, this position for white? No, I have bishop E2.
Bishop E2, bishop C2.
Bishop C2 though. Yeah, you see, it could be lost. That's why.
C5 is on the board.
Yeah, this is this. So it's possible for white to self-made.
Bishop B1 again.
Yeah, don't play F3 basically, or even if you play F3, just don't move the bishop here. But don't play F3 and just wait.
Yeah, probably we don't have to wait too long until the shake hand will appear on the screen. Yeah, there is not much to worry for either side.
No. You can actually play F3 and then just play H4 and stop king from coming. Yeah, I played F3.
F6.
Yeah, I mean, that was a funny position with bishop on D3, but it's nothing to do with reality. H4, I think here is just cleanest. Because if you trade bishops, I have King F2, G3 option.
Well,
and also I can allow the king to G3, but I should not move my bishop away. I can allow that. I think I should keep the bishop here, and that's also a draw.
Yes, that diagonal is essential for white.
Yeah. So there is no way white can lose this.
H4 is played.
Yeah, H4. I think we might, because the game is kind of easy today, we might, and tomorrow is rest day, we might get a slightly more exciting press conference. Maybe they will, say something more than they usually say.
Yeah, King F2. And I think both of them are already waiting.
kind of repeating, I guess, at some point or not. The problem for white is that
next move, white going to play g4.
The problem for white is if g3 let's say king e5 or g4 king f6, you cannot use your majority. It's been neutralized by the 2 pawns. So the fact that black has double pawn is not relevant because black king is so active. And,
actually, in this position, if the black would not have on c5 this pawn, it would be also just the same.
That is exactly true. I guess they repeat with new2 king e5. Jan is a very optimistic player, so I do think he was kind of very optimistic about this endgame at first. So that's probably what they will talk about.
Finally, we reached to the point of repetition of moves.
Yeah.
Game 3, draw again.
Yeah, the good game, of course, high level play, but I think especially the opening was very interesting for the professionals. This rook e8 idea is very rare, so that was really the content of the game. Otherwise, of course, it's quite solid.
Well, it seems like, yeah.